You are muted, Tomalin.
Thank you. Oh, good day, y'all. I was telling you there's good day and good to be back on the closing argument on this historic day in our country where we witness the smooth and orderly transfer of power from one administration to another administration. President George Manuel Weah, the 24th president of Liberia, turned over the reins of power today to President Joseph Yuman Boyka at exactly 12 o'clock p.m. in line with our constitution. It was a historic day in our country, and we witnessed another, for the third time since the Civil War, the smooth and orderly transfer of power from one democratically elected president to another democratically elected president. And we witnessed President Joseph Boyka becoming the 25th president and Vice President Jeremiah Pancon becoming the 31st vice president of our country. The ceremony was held today on the grounds of the Capitol building, Monrovia, and it was very historic, very colorful, until during the president's inaugural address, he had some heat exhaustion, causing to abruptly end his inaugural address, and was taken out of the program, and immediately the program ended. And but we're just informed that the president of Liberia is back on his feet, and he's been meeting with the Ghanaian president, Nana Kofu, who was also at the program. And so we saw pictures of him meeting with the Ghanaian president already, and we received a statement from his office already. The statement was just sent out that says, the President of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Yuman Boyka, suffered heat exhaustion during the inaugural ceremonies today. His doctors have declared him perfectly fine. He has resumed his normal activities. He is expected to meet with the Ghanaian president and other dignitaries today. Signed by Charles Snyder. But Kev, it's good to see you back on the closing argument. And today is a historic day in our country. It's a big day. Inauguration day comes every 6 years, and it's a day that people uh, we see all our traditional people come around, and people from all walks of life come to witness such a historic occasion. Not many of us have witnessed such an occasion in our lifetime, but we witnessed the one from Samuel Doe to Taylor, and then Madam Salif and President Weah, and today witness President Boyka. But Kev, come in, man. What's your thoughts about the program today?
Uh, Let me say hi to you, Tommy George, and our folks out there. Please share the show out there. We come on early today than our usual time because it's a historical day today in Liberia. So share the show out there, and so and let and have a good show and talk about then what happened today. Um, it's a proud day based on our history. It's a proud day, um, especially when former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, you know, put the the current president now, Jose Imamboka, hands up and her hands, and the President George Weah, former President George Weah hands. It was a beautiful day to see compared to um, the way we actually select our president back then through the, the the guns. But it's a beautiful day to see. It was just, other stuff happened. I think we will get into that. But it's a beautiful day to see that we can we can disagree. Uh, you can choose your leader, and your we respect the choice of the people. That who you choose can represent you. So in that area, I think I I will give Liberia an A plus, and we compared to where we come from, you know. So I think it's a beautiful day to see that folks and I shooting each other.
Yes, I agree with you. It was a beautiful occasion. Occasion was going well until during the president's inaugural address, and something happened for the first time we ever seen happen in our country history, especially when this inaugural program. But the good thing is that I spoke to the vice president already, and he told me that the president is well, and also the release from the president's office says that he's well, and I saw a picture of him meeting with the Ghanaian president earlier today, and we told that there will be more news coming from his office before the day ends. But again, we will not just ignore what happened today. It's important that we discuss it. For me personally, I believe that those who organized the program, they should have taken into consideration several factors. I'm sure they're aware of the weather condition and the age of the president. All should factor into it too. Because the last time, in fact, many people don't know, but long before the Civil War, President Tubman Talbot, the guy sworn in at the Centennial Memorial Pavilion. The last time I witnessed our inaugural program was in 1997 on August 2nd when President Charles Taylor was sworn in at the Centennial Memorial Pavilion. So with all of these situations, I think they should have focused on the Centennial Pavilion. Not everybody got to attend that program. There are other events held across the country. I think they should have thought about everything, factor into everything before they go on that brazen heat, and especially with the people that attend the program would have been more trouble because there are other older people around. The Ghanaian president is not a young man; he's an older man. We saw the former president was there, Madam Salif, and so forth. But it could have been worse. Who knows? With the heat that was around today. But for some reasons, people should really take it serious, and we really should really investigate why they went to that place today, why they did it. We're looking at all the situation because that's the president we're talking about. So and he was immediately sworn in. Right after he was sworn in, Chairman Ben, welcome. That occurred. So that's why I got everybody. I mean, it's all over international wires now. The BBC, the CNN, the American news, all carrying it on a news wire. In fact, I just saw a headline from I think Newsweek say the president had a stroke, which I don't want to believe because I saw him sitting with the Ghanaian president. I'm not a doctor, so I cannot say that, but I saw him with the Ghanaian president. So I believe he's what people are saying. I heard the speaker also was commented today that he's at his house and he was okay. He was well and so forth. But guys, that's where we are. What's your thoughts, guys, about what happened today on such a beautiful day, a great historic day in our country? Chairman Sevi, Kev Hassan.
Oh, okay. And Kev going first? He was, yeah.
Yeah, let that shake, man. Nice shake.
Huh?
Let that shake. Nice shake.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And another shake.
I need one to back in, my man.
Of course.
But Kev, I told you I've been enjoying life since I was 17-year-old, man.
I mean, another shake now.
Wow. But again, you know, somebody you said they should consider the weather. They should consider several factors. You're saying, let me tell you, Black Africa is hot. Black Africa is hot. Ghana is hot. So you're telling me that if the former president cannot go to Ghana and speak, so what we have now? So he cannot go to some other African country, black and African country that is hard. So I don't think so. And by the way, Madam Ellen was there. She's a ageable woman. I stand to be corrected, Ben. But 2012, I think she did her speech under there, right? 2012, and that same era. Maybe it's not the exact location, but under the same heat. So, so I I think we should. I think we should not put that into it. The problem is folks are not coming to reality of the situation that we having. It's something that we will live for in the next 6 years. So I think it will be a lot of, if this continue, that he go to any other hard African country, Liberia will be known as a country that who elects a fall off president. That meaning that if you go in Ghana, a hard boom, you will fall. Go in Guinea, boom. So that's that. I don't think the heat, because I don't think that for me. I don't want to. I don't buy that. Sell that to people who want to spin it.
Chairman Sanvee, man.
First of all, it's good to be here. A little earlier than we normally come on, but what a historic day! Day where again we give God the glory to be alive, to see history unfold right before our eyes. Let me thank President George Weah, congratulate him on successfully steering the ship of state of our nation for the last 6 years. Had a privilege and it was humbling to support him in the last election, the last two elections actually. I got a chance to speak with him today briefly on his way to the airport, and I think he's done his part. And I definitely believe history will be kind to George Weah. History will be kind to him. I wanted to start off this way. Thank the vice president, former vice president, Joe Taylor, she too, both of them. They will be remembered, regardless of what they do next in their careers, because they are two relatively young people. Virtually young when you think about the ages of presidents in the region. They're not young people per se, but young. Congratulate to President Joe Buckeye. Congratulations to the new president. There's conflict in whether he's the 25th or the 26th. I've been seeing 26. Some people say 25th. I think he's the 25th, right?
Yeah, 25th.
Because Charles Taylor was the 21st.
21st. Toma was 20. Toma was the 18th.
Well, let's just start from Taylor. So Taylor was the 21st. Moses Blah was the 22nd.
Yes.
Ellen was the 23rd.
George
Weah was the 24th. And Joe Buckeye is the 25th. So please, just from education, I've been seeing people saying 26 president. He's the 25th president of the Republic of Liberia. We want to congratulate him, congratulate the vice president, the new vice president, Jeremiah Kwankun, our own friend and brother. Congratulate their families, First Lady Katumu Buckeye, Second Lady Stephanie Dan Kun, and the new first family and second families, the new incoming government. Hopefully, I'm sure while we're on this show, there may be some breaking news with the listing of the first slate of cabinet posts being named. I'm anticipating possibly the Big Five, the first Big Five, which is customary whenever a new president takes office. It happened with President Weah. There's some of the names we've already hearing. So we want to congratulate them, and we wish them well as they steer the ship of state. What happened today? I know it's the news that everybody is talking about. What happened today, clearly, I believe, was a breakdown of, it could have been avoided. There are other countries that have high humidity than Liberia do, but they have successful programs. What happened today again clearly shows the problem we have in our country. where we don't learn. We don't learn, How many inaugurations are we going to have? How many times do we have to plan for things? How many times do we have to know that this is what? Why don't they check the weather? I mean, something as simple as that. Google the weather. Google Monrovia. What is it going to be on that day? Is it going to rain? If it's not going to rain, how hot is it going to be? I heard there was a huge budget for this inauguration. Why not maybe do a tent or something? I don't know. Put air conditioners in it. Figure out something. But I thought what happened today was a total embarrassment to our country. Total embarrassment. And this is not on the president. I think the president is a human. He's a human being. He's a man. But it was a serious, serious embarrassment to our country on the part of those who plan. And to a certain extent, the speech, I know people talk about the speech writers, but listen, the president read, I'm sure he practiced that speech. You don't go to give a major speech like that if you don't practice it. So I'm sure he was aware of the length of the speech. I thought the speech was a little too windy. I thought some of the things that he talked about, I haven't read the speech because I finally got a chance to see the draft, the full speech. I thought it was a little too windy. I thought he probably should have been a little more concise and talk about reuniting the country. And then at the end of the day, he has a major speech to give next week, from what I understand. He has to give the State of the Nation address. I hope they were planned, because that State of the Nation, I've attended a few of them, and that joint chamber gets extremely hot. It gets extremely hot. They have air conditioner there, but when that joint chamber gets crowded, it gets very, very hot. I hope they take that into consideration. Now we have a president who is aged. He is up there in age. These things have to be taken into consideration now. So I thought it was a national embarrassment. I thought they could have avoided this. This was not it couldn't have been avoided. You have other people on that stage. If you know the president was going to be involved in, I heard somebody else say he was wearing bulletproof vests. Listen, all of those things for me are just excuses. I think some heads should roll here in any civilized or serious country. Those who are responsible should be made to answer this, because don't get this wrong. It could have been much worse today. We could have been having probably another conversation today if, one, God was not on our side, and two, that security officer who was standing behind the president, who noticed him, who moved immediately to stand behind him, to hand him a bottle of water, to start to fan him. It could have been worse today. So this is not something you take for granted. Joe Boyka is just not your ordinary Uncle Joe anymore. He is now a national security and a state asset. So everything about his well-being has to be taken into serious consideration. But I will stop there, because I know we're going to go more into the conversation. But I thought it was a national embarrassment. It was something that could have been avoided. The amount of money spent on this inauguration, they should have planned well. They should have put all of those things in place. And I think also the president should have been cognizant of his state, his well-being. And maybe the speech was a little, and I feel the speech was a little too long, and I think it was a little too windy. So he probably should have also thought about that. But overall, we gave God the glory that we saw a seamless and a peaceful transition today, and our country today turned the page, and we hit another milestone.
Yes, today's inauguration day in Liberia. I want to welcome the Reverend Dr. Henry Peabody, Dean Minister of the Gospel of God, and a humanitarian who extend his work through Africa and especially Liberia. The Peabody, welcome, man.
Good to be here, Kat. Good to be here, Tomalin. Thank you on this inauguration day. Good to be here.
Talking about the speech, I looked at the speech for the president, the president of Liberia. It's 23 pages. 23 pages. I don't know who wrote that speech, but I don't think, like Ben said, the president is speaking next Monday. in line with the Constitution to give his State of the Nation address, his first State of the Nation address, where he would give us, he would tell the Liberian people where George Weah left the country, where he inheriting, and his agenda for the year. He'll be telling us in that speech next week. That's one is much longer than the inaugural address. Usually, inaugural address is usually people use it to just get a vision and thank everyone and get a vision of where they want to take the country. So, but 23 and pages of speech. I mean, pages. I don't think it was fair to him who did it. They talk about it, especially they talking about historical context and all kinds of stuff. I think she was just give the woman a speech that he would just deliver, and then he prepared for his State of the Nation address next week, Monday. That one is in the hall of Congress of the legislature when they meet in joint session. And I just thought that it was but like Ben said, it was a national embarrassment. Again, we all know that there's health can happen, anything can happen, but to know that they were going in the sun and looking all of that condition, especially even before the president started to feel the heat. There were times that you notice, in fact, for one point in time, he needed water to drink. I mean, and all these things they should just, and then even giving fair him, whatever the case. But what it did to that program, I don't think it was fair to him and fair to the country. But again, that's Liberia. We have a president now, or newly inaugurated president, and the work goes on. When we've spoken to those around him, like I said, we talked to the vice president, and they said he's well. And also I don't know which position Mr. Snyder will be, but he sent the press release off. The release thing, where he said the president of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Newman Boakai, suffered heat exhaustion during the inaugural ceremonies today. His doctors have declared him perfectly fine. He has resumed his normal activities. He is expected to meet with the Ghanaian president and other dignitaries today. Signed by Charles Snyder. But I think he already met the Ghanaian president already. We saw pictures of him. I don't know if you guys can put it up later on. I don't know, but Peabody, that's where we are. There was a beautiful program today. Again, congratulate the president on his inauguration, the vice president, and we want to wish them the best as they have steered the state of affairs of Liberia for the next 6 years. But with all that, Peabody, you all witnessed it live. What's your thought?
Yeah, I think today was another history making for our country, and I think every Liberian should be proud of Liberia and the transition that we've taken. It's not very, very common in West Africa. We've seen a lot of coup d'etat in the recently. We see Guinea, we see Mali, I believe Burkina Faso, and some other countries. But yeah, today we demonstrated modern democracy. In Africa compared to Ghana, where we had an easy transition, where an incumbent was able to concede to the incoming to Joe Boakai. So I mean, it is really what we saw today was a very peaceful transition. I saw former president together again, saw President Salih, President Weah, and then incoming President Weah. My thoughts and prayers are with Vice President Boakai. I'm praying for him. I wish him because we need him. He's not our president. We need him to conduct the affairs of our country. We need him very well. And it is important that we ensure that we keep in our thoughts and prayer. So sorry for that. I'm getting calls from everywhere. But what I would like to say that I think like all of you alluded to the speech. I think it was just too long, and it was too hot, and I think it was embarrassing in some way. The optics were very bad after the president. I mean, he read it very well, but it got to a point where he just couldn't make it. I would suggest to the advisors and others, since he's not the president of the Republic of Liberia needs the best of him. Let him ensure that VP Boakai go and seek the proper medical care and come back. Now that election over, he has been inaugurated. Let him show that he gets the treatment to travel, get the right care to come back so that he will fully lead our country. We don't want to be get embarrassed by a situation like that, or that could have been worse. But we thank God that nothing happened. But I would suggest let them find a way, get him out and let him get the real treatment so that he can serve our country. I will also suggest that the president be given the opportunity to address the nation again from his home, where he can read that speech from his home and all of that. But purely, I know it was very hard, but purely there's a health issue, that health risk here, a health concern, and I believe the need to address it very well. I mean, they're all saying he's okay or he's doing perfectly fine and all of that, but I think there's a need for him to go and seek proper care so that he can be better service to Liberia. But again, I want to congratulate him and wish him all the best. And also, I just heard that Dexter King just died. We want to wish the family
Yeah.
deep sympathy. Thank you, buddy.
Yes, that is true. Robert Gagwa Jr., welcome to Inauguration Day. Special Inauguration Day today, our country history, though. And like you guys are saying, I mean, if you read the whole speech, he has some good things in his speech at the end of the speech. I know they talk about it. He would have announced about a war crimes court. Uh, but then he didn't have a chance to finish his speech. And I don't think he will. I don't think he'll be able to. This speech will be. I think we'll just send it to the press now. The one we should look forward to, the one for next week Monday, at the legislature when he goes to deliver his State of the Nation address. So I don't think this speech will be read again. I think he will just, as they send it, we have it now. It will just send it to the various media institutions and everyone will have it. But Robert, I'm sure you witnessed. I think all Liberians, man, witness that program. Inauguration comes every 6 years, so we all find time to witness such a program. What's your thoughts about what happened today?
Well, first and foremost, let me join the rest of the team and Liberians across the globe to congratulate President Joseph Yaman Boakat and the Liberian people. I think today you saw the strength of our democracy, not only the strength of our democracy, but the maturity of our democracy. I saw the former president in all smiles with his wife. I saw the former president Ellen Johnson Sirleaf uplift their hands along with the outgoing president George Weah, uplift the hands of the current president. I thought that really signified unity in the midst of political divide exhibited by our leaders. And so I thought that was positive. But look, I will go straight for it. I'm not impressed. I'm actually embarrassed. What happened today, Tomalin, is not about a political party. We should take we should take off our partisan hats and actually put on one that speaks to the nation as Liberians. This was a total chaos. This was a total embarrassment to the nation Liberia. What happened today? It happened on prime time. It happened during prime time. It happened when the world was watching. I mean, if you looked at social media right now, all of the major network, and by the way, I was taking notes in my office as the speech was going on, and I took some really great things. There's some great things about that speech, but none of that matter now, Tomalin. What the headlines are about Joseph Boakai being helped away from the podium by security. Joseph Boakai fainted. Joseph Boakai, there are concerns about his health. Joseph Boakai says nothing about the headline speaks to everything that we should be talking about in that speech. Nothing whatsoever. The question is not about heat exhaustion. The question is not about heat stroke. Look, these things are normal. It happens to the best of us. The question is, could they have been avoided had those in charge of this program and those in charge of helping to navigate with this president, had they dealt with this thing accordingly? You are dealing with heat in Liberia. The heat in Liberia is not red. It's not just not business. It's been there for over 70 years. We're in January. This is not in November or December. We're in January. It's expected to be hot, hot. What do you do? What do you do knowing that you have guests in that heat and you have a 79-year-old man with pre-existing conditions? What do you do to mitigate? What do you do to avoid these kinds of things from happening? There was not a single fan in that place. You put people in the streets. Even there were even the carnivals that they have over there. I mean, there was nothing, not a single fan. I expect that fan to be all across that place. I expected them to build this carnival over the president, put a fan right there, and they should have had cold water right by him. They should have had a cold tower soaked in ice to cool him off. None of that was happening. They didn't have water to distribute. I mean, there were people buying water. Now they say people I know was on that premise. People had to buy water from folks selling water. The MAC, on 2 occasions, were going in and out when the vice president was communicating with the chief justice, and then in the instance with the current president, the MAC went out multiple times. Forget the $200,000. If you spend $650,000 on the structure of the place, do you know what these guys are doing with weddings in our country? I just witnessed a wedding in Liberia recently, 2 weeks ago. When you're having these kinds of, these are not necessarily politically clouded events. You hire professional planners. You give them your vision. You hire professional planners. You pay them the right money for them to make sure that the country, this is the face of the country. I'm so pissed right now. I don't even know what to say. This is not about Joseph Boaga and his health issues. This is how embarrassed we were today. They embarrassed the country, and people are making excuses. These guys should be apologizing to Liberians for such an embarrassment today. This should have never happened. But I'll let the other guys come in. But if you ask for my thoughts today, this is a bad day. The unity parted, and its folks failed on day one. They failed on day one.
You know,
they should be apologizing to the nation.
Just to add to what Robert said, we did not hear the president taking the oath of office. The mark went off. In fact,
you just took it out of my mouth.
Yes.
I mean, I don't. And like you said, Peabody, you're right. I mean, how many inaugurations are we going to have? And these are supposed to be the people who are more competent than the people who left.
Yeah. But let me just throw out there. What you guys make up about people now? I see some folks on the Unity Party trying to trying to play what it is. They're trying to play tune deaf or throwing stuff up there. Yeah, I coming back. Trying to I see them making this not fun. We are not in campaign mode anymore. It's a national event. For them to saying that what we want, that's all. It shouldn't be saying that. You should be concerned about the president's health. Is about leading 5 million people, and they are there throwing these talks. I don't think it's fair to the country and the people. What do you guys think about that, Ben?
And let me say this. First of all, I'm not going to dignify any. I don't know. I don't want to use a word here, but it's okay. I'm not going to dignify that because, like I've always said, and I will continue to say this. A lot of people take these things for granted, right? That place was a national security hazard today.
Absolutely.
You have foreign head of states in that place. Do you know how old the president of Ghana is? He's almost 80 also. President Nana Akufo-Addo is not a young man. He's almost 80. You had former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who is what, 85, I think? 83, 85, her age? Like you said, there was not a single fan in sight. But yet and still, we had a budget of $650,000 for this inauguration. It was headed by Miata Fambule, who has something to say about everybody. Everybody. She's they're the moral, they're the ones who know what to do in Liberia. Today, they embarrass the country. They embarrass the country, And if I was President Boakai, majority of those people who are on that inaugural committee would not even get an appointment in my government. Because it just tells you what exactly the level of competence they will bring to governing the country. They almost, and let me say this, they almost killed our president today. They almost did.
Yes.
Because of negligence, because of incompetence, because of arrogance, and for them to come on the air or to come on social media and try to spin it again. That's the most disgusting part. Trying to spin it. Trying to spin it. Joe Buckeye is not Joe Buckeye is no longer your rescue power.
But Ben, guys, I would take a different.
But can I finish my thought, please? Can I finish my thought? Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Joe Buckeye is no longer your rescue power. He's no longer your rescue one. Okay, and I will say this. I thought it was disgraceful, like you said, Robert. I think heads needs to roll here. I see somebody writing say the program was planned by the outgoing government. It's a freaking lie. Don't lie. It was not planned by the outgoing government. The outgoing government provided the funding. They had an inaugural committee. The Joint Presidential Transition Task Force, team did not plan this program. This program was planned by the inaugural committee. So let's set that record straight. It was not planned by the outgoing government. It was planned by the inaugural committee that was appointed and put together by the president of Liberia now, President Joe Buckeye. So I agree with you, Peabody, like you said. We didn't even hear the president oath of office. We did not hear the vice president oath of office. There should have been 2 mics down there. How many times? We just had an inauguration 6 years ago. Total incompetence. I think head should roll. If Joe Buckeye is not upset today, if he's not upset, then maybe we got a glimpse into how he's going to govern the country. I will rest for now.
I would take another side to this. I think well, I would agree that the planning were poor. That's obvious with the Buckeye, but I think we kind of what I was. I think we kind of underestimate the situation that going on with JMB. I think we kind of underestimated the situation. But Tomalin, let me play this because some people texting me. They're telling me some of them did not see the what happened today. If you permit, let me play this. What happened today? Okay, studio. Can you guys play? Okay, that's frozen. Can you guys play? Okay. The volume, no volume. Studio, no volume. If no volume, you can take it down. If no volume. You can take it down. It's no volume. Take it down so we can. Okay, but let me say, I think we estimate the situation that going on. The heat contributing to what happened, but there's an underlying a condition that even if you had it in the building, if you had it in air condition, it will still be the same. Because if we go by that, a lot of Black African countries hot, completely hot. A lot of folks were there. Like Kufuor is almost 80. You get Ellen Johnson, Salif, you get all this. So I think they will be happy to take the blame that they dropped the ball. They will be happy to take the blame, and they will say, "Oh, okay, people will now focus." No, the main issue into the whole thing, there's underlying condition that going on with JMB, that this episode will be happening. And guys, he had the same episode before now when he gave his speech. He had it in his home. He had it in America. That's not the first time. That's not the first time. So if we say they drop the ball or they almost killed it's giving them that pass to say, okay, we can do it better. He's okay, nothing wrong, and that's what they want to sell out there. That's what they're trying to sell out there, and that's not it. That's not what happened here. You can put a bucket of water and put ice in it and come and soak him out, which if they're going to do that, every country he goes. So what will be happening in Ghana? So Ghana, you have to have a whole truck of ice behind this president, and anything happen. That's not the main factor out there. What happening that if you watch him, you can tell his energy was dropping. Any medical practitioner out there will know exactly what I'm saying. Yes, the heat, yes, this, but other folks been out there too. That's not the first time they have program there. People have program. The first thing I said here a couple of weeks ago, I said, you guys were on this program. I said they're moving it to the parking lot at the Capitol building. Reason number one, he cannot stand the entire crowd and stuff that coming, that energy that coming on SKD. He cannot stand it because of his condition. I said it, yeah, but nobody listened. The thing is just a talk. So no way. If you remember, it was raining the day they had their I think the opening or closing at ATS. He went there. He did not speak. He did not speak. He left for like less than 10 minutes. And I told you the reason is he cannot be in that crowd. When you have that kind of condition with a pacemaker, you cannot be in an overwhelming place. The reason number one, you cannot be in an overwhelming place because you put too much pressure on the heart. And when you put pressure on the heart, the pacemaker will have to kick in. If the pacemaker cannot sustain it, you lose energy. So if you watch, that's why I wanted to play the video so you can see. If you watch, he starts to lose the energy. He starts to repeat. He coming down. He wiping his face. He coming down. He stopped for some minute. Any practitioner out there will tell you. So when you put this on, I agree. Based on his condition, they should have. But they wanted to prove a point to the people that he can read, but he cannot. He cannot read for long. I've been saying this thing for long. My guys can bear me witness. In our chat room, few minutes before, I put in the chat room, I said, we're going to be in trouble. Something coming happen. You can see it. You can see it. Anybody who sit before JMB, you can see it. We should not sugarcoat it because this is a national embarrassment. This is an embarrassment for Africa, and he's going to embarrass Liberia because what happened when he go to Togo? What happened when he going to Addis? So they got big throwing cold water behind him in Addis. So now he will get cold water ball. So he will get cold water and ice ball, like cool ball now. Okay. Just joking here, man.
Well, again, we want to wish the president well. We happy that the news we're getting that he's back on his feet. We saw a picture of him meeting with the Ghanaian president already. And also, as I said earlier, the vice president and the speaker. I mean, I know Ben spoke to the speaker, but I spoke to the vice president. I know they have said that he's well. He's doing well, and so we'll take care of that. And but the issue is that is no, we cannot just ignore what happened today, and that's the bottom line. That those who were involved, who were in charge with this whole program, I think they didn't do a good job. And like somebody said, a microphone they kept on like and breaking in between, and when they're taking the oath of office, and then I mean like that's that guy who was standing by the president. He saved the day today though, because he's
Yeah.
somebody who we gotta. I mean, he saved his day because apparently he understands CPR, he knew all these stuff, and he was prepared to perform any kind of emergency help if anything have gone wrong. But we should not take it for granted, and I think the president should not just allow it to happen again. I mean, first time should act on it because should have been prepared, like Ben said earlier. The president saw his speech, I'm sure, last night. He read his speech this morning and everything. And I mean, it's no secret that the president of the country, he's an older person. He's 79, I think, and he's not a young person. So you know that the kind of condition, you got to be very careful how you.
I'm just receiving information now that he added on that speech.
Okay.
That he added with the broader speech. Sorry, Mr. Moderator, with the broader speech to him, I just look at it right now that he added on that speech. So he put more in there that he wanted to talk about. So he fully cognizant to the speech. So I don't think his speech writer should be blamed.
Well, I mean, I said I got the speeches here, 23 pages of look at this.
Yeah, you see, he added on it.
But that AD Campbell, whoever that person that was saying by the president, did a very good job. Recognized the emergencies of situation, and called for help right away, and they were able to take him from over there, and not to force it, to make him to continue to speak. And but they just should not allow it to go out investigation. Why cause it? You know, I mean, again, I said I was a human being, but knowing that the president was different world leaders and other things speaking, the whole world watching that bro today, you know, and to sit down and allow him to go through such a torture. I mean, I don't know how to call it, but in a blazing sun, because I think I checked the degrees, 80 degrees, I think 83 degrees, I think, and people who were there, we spoke to people. I think Peabody spoke to somebody who were there, and he spoke the briefing about, hey, Peabody, what your
I just speak to Reverend Lofa Martin. He was on the scene and he said that it was really hot. There were other people who kind of fell off today for that weather. He said it was extremely hot, and there were others there who was falling off because of that. So I think, but yes, to me, here's what I want to say. I think it's important that the president seek further medical attention, because he has a very huge responsibility.
Yes,
he would travel. He's going to the OU. He's speaking to the legislature next week. He's traveling other countries that he will have to speak and deal with even bigger crowd than that. I think it is important that the president now, after the inauguration, thank God he was inaugurated today, that he go and seek further treatment and get the kind of help he needs before and come back, and then he'll be able to discharge his function fully. But here again, going back to that inauguration ceremony, I think it was really disgrace. It was really embarrassing for a country. You can't even buy a public address system, a very good public address system where you have presidents from different countries sitting. Look, I think the whole thing was a mess, because even the Oval Office, the Chief Justice, I don't know what she was doing, but there were a lot of things that was lacking. The man came, started taking the oath, then later on they brought the Bible, they later on they took the Bible to him to go and kiss the Bible, and the mic, you couldn't hear him when he was talking. The vice president came up, you could not even hear the vice president when we were talking. I think they invited too many people that shouldn't have been on guest list. Rather, they should have just catered to the international guests and one or two other partisans to come in there and deal with that program. But there were just all kind of people there, and it was just loud say when people come in, you can't see them, and they're just talking or the floor. But I think it was embarrassing for a whole country, and maybe that's why some other African president did not come because we saw the same thing during President Weah inauguration. The protocol was bad. That some of the president came did not even have a place to sit, and all that, and that was embarrassing. And again, we see the same old thing. So I think it's very important that the president go and let him take him that he seek follow medical care so that he will be strong and healthy in mind and body to lead the country. But what we saw today, it was very scary, very very scary. And I think that in many what was intended to be a time of celebration, of rejoicing, the military, the 21 gun salutes and inspection. Really, everything didn't turn out the way it should be today. You know, so I think what if the president had not taken the oath of office before that? Tell me what was going to happen. Why had not taken the oath? What was going to happen today? So I think it is important. I think they need to audit those who they gave $650,000 to prepare for 1 day program, and we saw a whole mess. I mean, the people who did the PA system thing, they were a complete mess. That was so shameful that they had to take the speaker mic and bring it to the Supreme Court justice. I mean, all of that was a mess. So I think, I mean, they embarrassed the president today, but we thank God that nothing bad happened. We just got to keep in our prayer so that he will, be able to lead fully. But somebody made the remark today. I want to say this. He said, "Look, man, we just got to pray for our president." He said, "From what I saw today, we got to pray for our president." So I'm just quoting.
Well, Liberia is a prayerful nation. It's a nation it's a prayerful nation. So I'm sure people are praying for the president and the new leadership. We have a brand new leadership in Liberia now. The president Joseph Boyka, the vice president Jeremiah Kun, the speaker Fonati Kofa, the president pro tem Yobli Kanga Lawrence. They are the one who, and then the chief justice Say Nyenwolo. They are the one who leading our country now. But Lofa Julius, man, I'm sure you watched that program today. Happy Inauguration Day. It's a good day to be a Liberian today, and on a day that we cherish every 6 years. I mean, many countries don't experience this kind of a day, though. Where they have a peaceful and orderly transfer of power. And President Weah, by way he's left the country. President Weah was in a joyful mood today, and he departed the country after the program. He left, and we wish him well. He did an extremely good job. Say what you want to say. President Weah, when he took over the country in 2018, he inherited a budget of I mean, in the foreign account, a reserve of $94 million. He leaving $2 million in our account, and then the consolidated account, where people get paid from, and revenues are deposited. He made $7 million. He leaving $40 million there. I mean, I would give the guy his flowers while he's alive. Well, Lofa, what are your thoughts about the program today?
Great to be back on here, guys. Happy Inauguration Day. I don't know how many of us really want to say happy the way it ended. And again, it was very shameful. I apologize for the late appearance here tonight. As you can see, I'm still on the farm, so I'm just trying to make sure that the birds don't eat the rice. But today's program was very embarrassing. I did not get to see the entire thing. I was kind of skimming here and there because unfortunately I was in and out of meeting. I was really hoping that today would have been one of the slowest day of my life at work. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Nevertheless, I was opportune to have watched clips of it. And the most embarrassing thing that we all attempted to prevent is what we experienced today in this entire inaugural process. It was very embarrassing. Sometimes, Tomalin, one must be honest to themselves. All right. You just have to face it up front. I think Ben had made this statement times without numbers. Governance is far different from campaign. And we attempted to alert the folks on the other side, Unity Party, to say, look, guys, you won the election. Put yourself in governance mode. Get yourself out of the campaign mode. That's something that even the president attempted to speak of today. What I read here, this speech right here, it had a lot of substance to it. But you know what? All of that just fell in the mud. Now, it would take you, myself, and several other Liberians to go back and review these things and say, you know what? He attempted to bring something of substance for the discussion. He spoke of reconciliation, something I really wanted to hear him speak of. He spoke of reconciliation. He in his reconciliatory statement, he said, I will be the president of every Liberian. Okay. He's telling us, telling his partisan, get out of the partisan mode. Let us now focus on governing the state. He gave us some historical references as to how divided we are and the position we play in history, not only in Africa. But you know what? Today, I had to speak to one of my techs, okay, who followed the entire, he followed the program. He came in my office. He was like, "Did you know that your president almost died?" I was like, "No, that's not. He did not die. It was heat stroke." Okay, so I'm here trying to convince this young man. Okay, I was like, "No, it's not. It's not. He did not die. Almost died. It was just heat stroke, and you know he's an older person." But did we not warn the United Party about this kind of things? Did we not warn them as to why it was important for people to question the health of the president? Did we not advise why it was important that he seek the needed medical attention? Because all of these things were going to play in. The poor planning. You're telling me those who planned the event did not know how hot it would have been? They did not check the weather? They self proclaimed educated, sophisticated people. You're planning a program. You did not check the weather forecast so that you know as to what is going to rain. And in the incident it rains, you have something to prevent anything else. The heat. You're telling me they could not provide portable fans, and all the things around there. They couldn't do that. But these are the just the level of deception. Okay, they present this whole flamboyant idea that they are sophisticated, they are overly educated, but when it comes to implementation, this is where a lot of us fall short. Anybody can sit and say, I am overly educated. Anybody can sit and say, I can write 25, 30 pages. But when it comes to implementation, that's where a lot of us fall short. And in this case today, the first day in office, the very first day of the president's office term, he fell flat on his face. A lot of people may want to say, let us look at other aspects of it, but we have already embarrassed ourselves. We have disgraced ourselves to the word. What do we do to bounce back from here? Are they not going to sit and listen to suggestions from others like you and myself who come with no bad intention? Nothing personal. It's just that we all stand for the best for Mama Liberia. And in that regard, we must say the truth and nothing but the truth. And we warn these individuals. They were forewarned, but they chose not to do it. They wanted to be a bunch of sycophants. And in that, they embarrassed all of us. And today, we will have to sit here to justify their poor planning, okay? Underperformance, embarrassment. And I don't expect anything more but worse than what we expect, what we saw today, because it's only going to get worse. I doubt it's going to get any better. Thank you.
Wow, Chairman Sanvee. I mean, I seen the president meeting with I seen pictures of it. I hope you can put that video up, meeting with the Ghanaian president now. But Chairman Sanvee, what do you think going to happen next? I know we expect a yes on appointments today. We expect the first few appointments like the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Justice, Defense, Internal Affairs, Presidential Affairs, Finance, and yeah, that's the first few ministers we hear being appointed tonight. Hopefully, we'll get to know why we on the show. As I'm told that my sources tell me that we should hear breaking news coming from the president's office in a moment from now. So we are working our phone lines to get the first appointments sent to the Senate for confirmation. But Chairman, you someone who been in all of these things before. You were there for we saw you there for when President Salif took over, President Weah took over, and then coming from a young background where I would tell people I was there when this man became a new youth advisor. I was there at that All Liberian Conference in '98. We all were there on the auspices of the Liberian National Student Union. We all were there when Ben Sanvee became the youth advisor to President Taylor, the first one in our country. I don't know why other presidents do not have a youth advisor since that time. But it's important, though, especially to talk to our young people, get our young people involved. But hopefully, this president will get a youth advisor. We don't know. But Ben, what's your thoughts, man? As what's right now?
We'll recommend Keff as the youth advisor to President Buckeye.
Fire in the scene night.
But let me say this. Yes, you are right, Tomalin. We're working the lines here. I myself have been on text messages. Any moment from now, the president will be making his first set of nominations to the Liberian Senate. That includes Minister of Finance, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Minister of State, I think Justice, from what I understand here, National Security Advisor, Chief of Protocol, Executive Mansion, Chief of Protocol, Republic of Liberia. I'm reading the message that I just received. Inspector General of the National Police Force, Deputy Inspector General of the National Police Force, Head of the Executive Protection Services. These are the names that we should be hearing, and possibly more. It has been reported that Joe Buckeye has already decided who he wants to go with, how he wants to go about running his government. But I do want to talk, and so we're watching. We don't want to preempt. I have some names already. I'm not going to preempt. I think we're going to give the president some respect. Let him put out his name. There will be ample time for us to go into these people's records and find out whether they are, whether they are worthy of being confirmed by the Liberian Senate. One of the things that I'm excited about is that I'm hearing from folks, senators, who are heading these sector committees, that this is not going to be business as usual. You're going to see a very open and robust confirmation hearing on all of these nominees. So we wait to hear the results. I hear that the traffic on the Executive Mansion website right now is at the highest than it's ever been. I think everybody's watching and just waiting for this announcement to come out. So we will wait to hear who will make the list, who will go ahead and make the list. But what I want to talk about also, and Tomalin, you rightly said, is what I like to call the storm that is coming ahead. People are not paying attention to this. And they say, Liberians, when you want telling something, when you want to hide something from there, put it in writing, right? That's what it's a Liberian, but we love reading. We love people to do the work for us. But I put something on my page today, an excerpt from the president's speech. President Joe Buckeye, more than likely, is going to be the president who will possibly give us a war crimes court. For him to put it in his speech. And let us be cognizant of something here. And I said this before, and people took it for granted. The Speaker of the House, when he won the speakership, in his acceptance speech, he talked about the president's agenda, but he also said, this is Speaker for Nancy Kofa, he also said, I am hoping and will be willing to work with the president so that we can finally put an end on the chapter of this issue of war, crimes, and economic court. I believe that this has the support of our international partners. I believe that if Joe Buckeye had completed his speech today, I think instead of a heat stroke news, we probably would have been discussing the fact that Joe Buckeye is set to bring the war and economics crime court. I think this is a victory for justice. I think it's a victory for people who have been campaigning for this. And I want to publicly commend the president. I think it is high time that we start this process. I think, Tomalin, we're gonna have a show on this, a whole show on this. Get people in Massa, Washington, Emmanuel Savage, most of these folks who have fought for this. I think they fought so hard to try to get president. We had to do something like this. He wasn't able to do it. And I want to congratulate the president for his boldness, taking into consideration some of his partners. I'm telling you. So I'm just going to briefly say this, and then I will end on this note. But I want to read the excerpt. Like I said, our people don't like to read. But Tomalin, with your permission, let me just read that short excerpt from the speech. The speech is out there. Go on the Executive Mansion website. The speech is now out there. It's out there. You can read it. It is there. It is in the speech. That was the first thing that I picked up when I read this speech. And the paragraph is very simple. It said, we have decided, this is President Boakai from his speech, we have decided to set up an office to explore the feasibility for the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court, to provide an opportunity for those who bear the greatest responsibility for war crimes and crimes against humanity to account for their actions in court. An estimated 250,000 of our people perished in the war. We cannot forever remain unmoved by this searing national tragedy without closure. We shall seek advice and assistance from the Office of the United Nations Secretary General to ensure that the court, if found feasible, will be in compliance with higher standards of similar courts everywhere. The legislature will have its say appropriately in this matter in order to avoid any appearance of vendetta or witch hunt. This is big. This is big. People are taking this thing for joke. This thing will ruffle a lot of feathers, but I think Joe Boakai has made a decision that he is not running for re-election. He has nothing to lose. He's going to take this thing by the bullhorn, and I can announce publicly that President Joe Boakai, you have my 100,000 wherever number support. I think it's hard time that this issue be brought to the floor and our people get an opportunity to see justice. And those who are masquerading around, claiming to be the moral voices of our country and have blood on their hands, can now answer finally for the things that they did to our people. So I'm telling you, this was a powerful speech, by the way. If you read the whole speech, it was a powerful speech, but I think it just been overshadowed by what happened today. But we can clearly say that Joe Boakai has put it on the record, and I think he probably will expand on it more in his State of the Nation address.
Good, and also he in that same speech on a short passage, he talked about corruption. He said corruption is a menace and a drawback. Commitment to the application of the rule of law. Therefore, we will be essential in the fight against corruption, as halting the tide of public corruption is an important part of our development agenda for the transformation of our country. We must accordingly reset the fight against corruption and impunity to demonstrate firmness and resolve. Well, the president is saying that he will fight corruption. He's going to show that culture of impunity or corruption will end on his watch. We're going to see what happens. But Ben, Kev, let me come to you quickly. Talking about this war crimes code, Ben, maybe you can chime into, because who are the characters? Are they going to be acting upon the report from the TRC, or where would it be acting from? Because if that's a TRC report, you're talking about the former president also in that report. What are they going? He going to go after her too, or the MDRO that was the cause of the election? His vice president come from the MDRO, and Senator Prince Johnson. He one of those who don't hear about war crime code. He said anytime they don't saw him, they don't just shout war crimes code. And I'm sure what he heard today, I don't think he left from that inauguration happy. He wasn't a happy person. He didn't get a year about it though. But the president didn't address it. But I'm sure by now he knows about this, about in the president's speech that you put in corruption. War crimes code. So what do you think happened?
Well, let me say this. I'm 150% behind JMB based on this piece in his statement. I think he's on the money. He's brilliant. Ben read it. I think every loving Liberian who cares about our country should be behind JMB based on the World Crime Code. I support him on that. I will support him on that. I will be his partner on that, and I will every day I will talk about it. We can't wait to see it. You asked a question about who are the the people that they're supposed to be on that. I would say this. Prince Johnson number one. Prince Johnson number one. No way that Prince Johnson should be walking around Liberia. No way that Prince Johnson should be deciding who will win election. No way. No way. And I'm glad that JMB is looking in the face of uh, um, Prince Johnson and say, "You murder our people. You will be responsible uh, uh, for this." So I believe, and Ben, I agree with you that we need a whole show, probably sometime next week. That we will call. Massa Washington, which she part of the TRC, play a key role on the TRC. That we're gonna be reaching out to her. I think my brother Lofa here will reach out to her, and also Emmanuel Savage. I think Lofa is in contact with him too. He will reach out to those folks. We will have a whole show, and everybody, all of us will be behind GMB, and some of us will send personal message and thank him for that particular piece on his speech, that we should be behind it, because we have to change. There's no way that Prince Johnson is supposed to be deciding who win the election. No way that Prince Johnson will be selling the vote of Nimba to places, going there to vote for. I will give you Nimba if you give me days. You don't give me days, I will not be with you. So we have to change that. So I believe that it was a bold step. And by the way, Ben, the speaker, Fanatical Fat, said it on his acceptance speech. He said it. He spoke about it. So we're saying that the House, the Speaker, and the President on one page on that. It's a great day. It's a great day. So I think we will have a whole show on it, and then we will talk. We will talk about it. It's time for Prince Johnson to leave the face of our politics and face his true crime that he put upon the people of Liberia.
Lofa, just you put that video a few minutes ago. The Ghanaian president arrived at the president's house, and we just see
Here, let me.
for the first time since the president was taken from the inaugural podium.
Let the guy in the studio try. Or Tomalin, I'm not at home. Like I said, I'm in the office, so I can't. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm limited as to what I can do, especially where I'm joining from.
Okay.
Yeah. That's how the guy in the studio should be able to do it. Let's see, Henry can try to do that. I think he did it all the time.
But Lofa, what are your thoughts on this war crimes court thing? I mean, what are you? I mean, you've been a strong.
Yeah.
Then as a matter of fact, like I said, I did not listen to the entire speech, but again, I read through it, and I'm still reading through it for the fact that just hearing the idea to have the war crimes court implemented. Look, if no one ever supported anything Honorable Boycott have done or said throughout this entire process, I think this one right here, like you rightfully said, and I hate for us to all sound like choir, but I think this should heavily be supported and it should be highlighted for the mere fact that this is what Liberians want: justice and accountability. If nothing else is done in Liberia, this in itself will leave behind that legacy, something that Madam Sharif couldn't do, something that President Weah failed to do. He is coming to get it done because he promised the people. That in itself, it speaks volume. And I must admit to you, I'm excited. As a matter of fact, I spoke to Yacindy, I think 3 days ago, and I asked her if she would come on along with sis Massa Washington, so that we can speak on the issue of the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court in preparation for our rally in April, as we spoke about earlier last week. But like I said, if we shouldn't have to twist the arms of Honorable Boycott to make sure that the War Crimes Court is implemented, then some of us will celebrate him. Okay, we will appreciate him for doing that. And I'm pretty sure thousands of Liberians following this podcast today are celebrating. They are excited that at least we are fast approaching justice and accountability in Liberia. So I'm really excited, and I cannot wait to the day when we should have people signing, those documents and telling us, yes, justice for all and justice for those victims of war crimes.
And I think something, Tomalin, something that Kev also highlighted, and I think I said it before, which is true. This is the first time, and we heard from both the speaker and the president on this issue. They're the two most important people when it comes to this issue, right? Let's understand we have a bicameral legislature. I'm sure there are also, I'm sure there are also, what's the thing name, folks in the Senate
Yeah.
who will support this. Look, I think this is big, and yes, I know, there are some people, and I want to reiterate because someone, of course, a good friend of mine just texted me because there's a lot, because this issue has been invading us for a long time, right? So there's a lot of skepticism out there. People are saying, well, maybe it's just a rhetoric, maybe it's just him just trying to pander. But what I have been told, and somebody alluded to me say that the words in the speech stated to study the feasibility. Listen, I agree, and I hear that. I hear the statement. I read the statement very carefully. I can tell you that the president did not include this in his speech, just because he probably wanted to bluff. You saw it happen. What the Imasoya, the word Imasoya using 19 concomitantly. Tell me, you remember that word?
Yeah, he said disarmament will go along with
with repatriation or something, right?
Yeah.
He said disarmament will concomitantly go along with rehabilitation and repatriation, right? You saw the speaker and the president, both of them, in their inauguration speeches. The speaker, when he was giving his acceptance speech for the speakership, clearly state that this is an agenda of his. This legislature will take this thing up. They will take it up. Then you hear the president saying, and what has been the cry from our international partners? We need the request to come from y'all. We can just come up and do it. Your government have to come up and do this. Your government have to come up and announce and ask for help. What did the U.S. ambassador on war crimes say when she went to Liberia? She said the funding is available. We will support it. We will support it. So I think this is a major victory for justice. I think those people, a lot of people, I know can focus on Senator Prince Johnson. Listen, if Prince Johnson feels that he has not done anything wrong, he should go and, like the president said, be given an opportunity to go and clear his name before this court. It is important that this happen for closure to come to our country. If we want to move our country forward, we have to set in place the precedents and the necessary checkpoints so that people know that they just cannot kill up people in the name of taking state power. I think Joe Buckeye has a high mark on this one. I think the president is going to fly high. And if he does this, I'm telling you, he has the potential to cement his legacy even before he ends his term, because this has been the cry for the last 2 decades in Liberia. So we want to congratulate the president, and we thank him for mustering the will to put it in his inaugural address. This is not no ordinary address. This is an address that will be read by generations and generations, and people will judge him on this. He didn't put it in no executive order. By the way, newsflash, I've been told that he will issue an executive order to this effect this week. I just got the text message from somebody close to the president's office. Go ahead, Robert.
Wow.
Thank you. I will give the president some credit for inserting this into his speech. I think that is welcoming. The other day we spoke about what we wanted to hear, right? and I will give him credit for that. But I know Ben. When Ben speaks, he speaks with authority on these issues because he has inside sources and close proximity to some of these issues. But I won't go as far as saying it's a victory yet. And I would say it's a beginning. I want to see actions, like Ben just stated. I want to see the executive order, but we all know that the executive order means nothing unless the legislature actually legally and constitutionally come together and say, look, I think this makes sense, and let's go ahead with the authorization to get this started. So I will wait. I don't think this will happen overnight. I think that I've been told there are conversations, inside conversations already about that piece, that part of the speech. Of course, there are people within the Unity Party who did not support that, who did not prefer to have that in there, and so we'll wait and see. But I wanted to go back to something Ben said previously when we spoke about what happened today. And this is very scary. And this also an indicative to what we've all talked about when we talk about uh, the danger of health risk and the lack of some of what we need to help solve some of these issues with regards to emergency. Anything could have happened today. And I was worried when I saw some of those securities surround the president. There is a guy already affected by heat stroke, and when he needs air, you got people surround him. Another thing that I did not see happen today, in the midst of dignitaries, we did not even have an ambulance at the facility. I mean, imagine if this thing could have or would have resulted into something worse than that, where he just needed to be cooled off or something like that. How you're gonna put him in a regular car and try to take him to the hospital?
No,
Anything can happen.
Point of, there were ambulances there.
Well, they
They
should
do
have
have
shown
ambulances.
up. I
Even the
didn't see them
president,
show up.
all the president convoys have ambulances. So I think there was one there. Yeah.
They should have
Oh,
shown up.
yeah,
I didn't see them.
yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate that point of information. I didn't see them show up. Right? They should have shown up. I did not see any health practitioners show up. I saw securities. So I hope that these guys really get this together. I hope that we are not making a lot of excuses on this matter, and I hope that they really get this together. But I heard a lot of good things in his speech. I heard a lot of things about normal business as usual. We must be a country of laws and respect democratic tenets. Corruption in high and low places. All of these things are all great things, but they can only become a reality. They can only become victories when actions match the words of our leaders. And so I look forward to the action now. Someone told me earlier today that there was a strategy to get the nominees out today before 7 o'clock. At least the first five nominees appointments. We're still waiting. I thought that would have been a great strategy because every headline is talking about what happened today. And so hopefully they can give us something else to talk about. But I look forward to see what happens.
But they say this, I know. I heard that the president got a black book that and the way he wrote it. The names he wrote it in Kisi, so people can know who he appointing. Only one know because
No, somebody attempted to spy.
yeah, but we put it in Kisi so they can't find out who doing it. But I can tell you, we have a cabinet by tonight. We have some cabinet members. You cannot run the government or cabinet because as of 12 o'clock today, all we are cabinet members relinquished their position. President you saw it. You witnessed that historic moment when President Weah transferred power. The seat of the presidency, as soon as Boga took the oath, Weah left his seat and turn over the boycott, giving that.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. What about the police director? He also not police director after 12.
Yeah, all appointed position.
Oh, appointed
So are
position.
we talking? So are we saying right now? Are we saying right now? Because by now, some the issue of and say something. So are we saying right now the country is not running? There's no police
The
chief.
No.
position person in the police
Yes,
department is
they are deemed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's
So
just.
I work. So who in charge now?
So let me tell you. So let me say this.
Like all those who are now presidential appointees, like
Who will be in charge of the police now? Who will be in charge?
The next in line. The next in line.
Who is the next in line?
The senior inspector of police.
Yeah, listen, guys. First of all, it's in the Constitution. It's in the executive order. Everybody who has all appointed officials, are deemed, because the way the Constitution is structured, a new tenure starts at 12 midday, no matter what happens, right? Whether the president is taking the oath, whether he hasn't taken the oath, George Weah tenure ended at 12 midday. So everything that George Weah brought into office, as far as an appointment is concerned, are deemed resigned, right? That's the language that is in the law. It says deemed resigned. But in many cases, look, Patrick Sudu, even until he gets his replacement, he I'm sure he's probably doing he's overseeing some things, but technically they have to turn over to the highest ranking civil servant. That's kind of like what the way the law works. But it's not like the government is not running. It's not like there is a power vacuum. There's no power vacuum. I think at the end of the day, these appointments will be made, and people will take their positions. That's what I think, and I believe that's what's happening.
Yeah, but Ben, to Kev point though, I mean they got to go to work tomorrow to do the people's job. I'm talking about the immediate cabinet. So what happens tomorrow?
Yeah,
what happens to ministries that don't have a minister or assistant minister?
Look at the time in Liberia now.
So that's what they said. They are deemed resigned, and the highest ranking civil servant in their different functionaries
will be in charge.
Assume the role of officer in charge, kind of like that. If you notice, when President Weah became president, he actually issued an executive order and said everybody turn over to the director of HR. He actually issued an executive order. There's no way to boycott.
That's what I'm talking about. There's nothing there to inform the people.
It's there. It says you turn over to the highest civil servant in charge. Now,
is that where?
There is no way, Keff. There's no way.
Ben.
Oh, wait, let me finish. Why are we
be patient? I need education. Be patient. How can I find that? You say it's there. Where? How can I find that? How can I see?
Yeah, read the executive order. Read the executive order that George Weah issued. The executive order. That executive order. That executive order that created the JPTT. It states everything in that executive order.
That's what I want to know.
It even talks about the president and the vice president vacating the official residences, the offices, before the president-elect takes over office. Everything is stipulated in that law. And all appointed officials are deemed resigned at 12 p.m., along with the old administration, and all functionaries of government will report to the highest ranking civil service person, because civil servants are not fired. They're not appointed by the president. They are part of the civil service. They're only talking about political appointees. Now, to further buttress this, the new president could issue an executive order and say, y'all can hold on. He's the president, right? He can issue that executive order and say, all ministers, if I appoint your replacement, you can hold on. That is his prerogative.
So Ben, let me ask you a question. So let's give an example. The health ministry.
Yeah.
Who would be considered the senior civil servant?
Non-political appointee.
Exactly. So that who would that person be?
More than likely is the director of HR, the way the functionary works.
Okay.
The head of HR in all of these ministries and functionaries is the highest ranking civil servant in these functionaries. Yeah. That's how it worked. That's why when we had took over, his executive order stated that, if you remember, there was an executive order where he said before you even spend more than $1,000, the Minister of State must approve it.
Ben, hold on now. Ben, hold on. Let me ask you. You say when we had took over, he issued an executive order, right?
Yes, he did. Yes.
So where's the executive order from this government?
The day has not ended, Kev.
No, what time is it in Liberia
The day have not ended.
Man, we're not arguing. What time?
Are you asking where the executive order? The day has not
what time is it in Liberia now?
So, Kev.
I just actually, it's after 8 o'clock.
Kev, let me repeat what I said to you. Let me repeat. The president don't have to issue an executive order. He doesn't. He don't. We are chose to do that. The president, the executive order that created the JPTT empowers all the highest civil servant in the functionary to take office, right? It does. So he doesn't need to.
So
he may issue one, but he really doesn't need to.
Okay, here's the pictures. A recent picture that was just sent to us by. I just spoke to Mr. Snyder, and he sends these pictures just now from the president meeting the Ghanaian president. He also said by midnight tonight we have the appointments up, so he will send it to us, Ben. The first set of appointments will be coming out tonight, but before midnight, so we'll have it. Hopefully, while we're still here. But this is the president, President Boyka meeting President Nana Akufo. Nana Akufo, any?
Yeah, Nana Akufo-Addo.
Nana Akufo-Addo. Nana Akufo-Addo is 79 years old. So two are the same age.
Yeah.
So
but for some reason, I don't know. Nana Akufo-Addo, he looks a lot more. He doesn't look like he's just 79 years old.
Well,
he doesn't have.
He yesterday. He let bro. He won't go back. He joined our country. But anyway, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, the president. I think he's. I don't know, but I think he looks well. I don't know, but the picture I see, and so forth. But
what do you think about? I mean, this was kind of strange. I saw a lot of leaders actually left immediately after the ceremony. Normally, they will stay for
because it ended abruptly, and the president. I mean, we have two.
Was that the reason why they left?
Of course, because I mean.
No, I said they left. They left the country.
Yeah, because the president he's supposed to host the dinner, with inaugural dinner with his guests, but he's home. Mind you now, the inaugural balls taking place around the country right now. They haven't. I witnessed some video just now where they have taken place, but he's not there. So he and the first lady will be there to welcome the guests. But I mean, no need if the counterpart is not there to go there.
So wait. So he's not going to make any of these.
No, he's not going to enter any of the balls.
What? This is unprecedented.
He's not. I mean, it so happened today, Robert. They probably got to relax, But two presidents came today. It was the president of Sierra Leone, Madabio, and Nana.
Yeah. Why was that?
And then, but the Chinese vice premier was there, and the Nigeria vice president was there.
Yeah, but Tomalin, why was that? During Ellen, I know these are different times. History.
We have about 7 or 8 heads of states.
Yeah, but 8 or 9.
Maybe they're busy. Maybe they were busy and. President Biden saying.
So let me ask you this: so do you think more head of states would have shown up today had George Weah been reelected than we saw today? I mean, we saw the Guinean president. We saw the Kenya president. I mean, we saw presidents across the country, across the region. I mean, the fact that you only had 2 heads of state, it was a historic moment. I mean, it's the second transfer of power after Ellen. You expected, people to be out there. I was a little shocked. And then what do you make of? I saw the president leave too. He left the country too right after the event.
I mean, that was planned though. The president, we had a plan trip out of the country, and
I think the president is tired now, huh? He
right now. You sure it's the Chinese vice president with that? The guy I'm seeing as Chinese vice president, that was not the individual. Ben.
Man, I tell you,
Ben. No, seriously. We can put the pictures up. You're sure?
Our program will have it back.
No.
Yeah, what happened? I heard Justin Trudeau was supposed to be there, the Canadian Prime Minister.
Yeah, we heard it, but he was not there.
That's how I thought.
Yeah, he
One
was
thing,
not there.
one thing I said though, we
Look,
caution
seriously,
we caution the
people need to Google it.
you should not be
Howard,
giving your lies and
check that.
misinformation. Come here honest, because
Exactly,
we'll
Tomalin.
checked it.
Exactly.
call them out. I mean, they said last week Kamala Harris was coming. We know. I mean,
But not Tomalin.
last week,
I told you from the day you brought out Kamala Harris story to me. I was very
No,
clear.
but Ben,
Yeah.
to Tomalin's point, he wasn't the one saying
gotta
it. They said it, Ben. They said it. So if they knew she won't be there, why would they say it?
Please, I beg you, my brother. You saw this guy there? This is the Chinese vice president. You saw him there?
they got several of them, Kev. They got the vice premier. They got different for different positions.
You know, the Unity Party people can lie so much. You
Yes.
saw this guy there?
Yeah, they got several vice premier. Maybe
No. You saw this Chinese vice president there? Robert?
No, I didn't see that guy.
Those people, that's the lie that the Canadian prime minister will be there. He was not there. Kamala Harris will be there. They lie. No Chinese vice president were there. It's a lie. Google it yourself.
Some people can live. Not
So,
So who pays?
Maybe Larry will help me
Kev,
here. The Chinese
Kev.
guy. Thank God, Larry here.
So Kev,
Larry help me. Yeah.
today we saw the president board. We saw the president board his private jet.
Mhm.
He's no longer president, and it seemed like he will continue to fly this private jet. Who's responsible for the bills right now?
The president.
Yeah, but who responsible? Who are paying the bills?
No, but
Who are paying it?
I'm sure that when I send friends.
So who are paying it before?
The country.
Nobody was paying it before. There's no budget line show that.
You know, in line to just to bring it back to about the guests. So Patrick Horner posted this thing last night. Big news. Justin Trudeau. I mean, it's a man who's will be appointed, and that's why I said you gotta be very careful because
it's a lie.
If they appoint you go for confirmation hearing and you keep on to come with these kind of lies, it can affect you though.
Well, let me. Tomalin,
He posted. He said, "Big news: Justin Trudeau, Canadian Prime Minister, arrived 7:30 in the morning, and Bola Tinubu, President of Nigeria, arrived."
Oh, I mean,
So
very careful what to do.
So Tomalin, let me just.
I beg you, my brother. I'm going to ask you this favor. Look at this gentleman I was sitting beside Linda, and look at the vice president. What is two people on? Those guys are completely. You know, they will lie to us. You can't let this slide.
Well, Kev, let me say something. Like, Tomalin spoke about something that, you know, it actually drew my attention when he said it could be held against Patrick or whoever when they have to go through confirmation. Who at the Senate has the guts enough to exhibit such thing when they are a part of this big boiling pot, and it's just a matter of who's where and when at the time. I don't think any one of those guys and women is courageous enough to say, look, the role that you will be playing requires a lot of ethics and morals. Okay, we expect you to behave accordingly, and based on your previous actions, we don't think you should be placed in that position. I don't think it's going to happen. That's why these guys can just behave the way they behave, because they are member of these political parties. So they feel like any day, anytime, I'll get what I want. Those lawmakers are not courageous enough to stand up and tell these guys several things that have happened in the past, or these behavior trend prove this way, and we don't think you should fit in for this position. It will not happen. That's why these guys will go in the streets, threaten people. They will do anything they want to do, and they'll get away with it. They will lie openly, like you just spoke of. Openly lie, and you would think that he will have the mind to come back and at least retract his statement. Okay, for a potential appointee to come back and say, you know what, I misunderstood something, and I wrote fast enough, but here's the correct version of what I should have notified the public of. They're not going to do it. And that's part of the reason why some of us continue to say we are now in the same boiling pot. is the same 6 and 7, the same group of people. Now, the only difference between George Weah again and President Boycott is the age difference, probably. Other than that, I think we have the same group of people coming back here. And until I'm proven wrong, I maintain that we have the same group of people playing here, and we will not get nothing different out of them.
Larry, Professor Kennedy, welcome, and good to have you on Inauguration Day, a great day for our country. We don't get to see this day until every 6 years. So by the time we come back, we'll be 2030.
Yeah, 30.
Let's hope 2029. Inauguration will be 2030, right?
Yeah.
We'll be entering a new decade, right? A new decade. We'll be entering another decade, a new 2030.
Exactly.
So, I mean, just the other day when during the 1998, when we talk about Vision 2024. Yes, we are now Vision 2024 at our Benin conference. At the conference, Benin schema attacking our man Charlie. And Charlie said the children gave me a hard time. I mean, just put them in my government quick because the children at that day, look, it wasn't easy. Here, one girl, what want to get in from one school, man. They said right now, we got people in jail right now. I've been tried. You're sure? Say, go check it right now. But anyway, though, that's a history part. But we got to talk about history part. Well, Professor Kennedy, welcome, man.
Yeah, man. So let's kind of do this balance, right? Let's look at the positive, and we can talk. The negatives are there. You cannot ignore the negatives, but let's look at the positives as well, right? So first off the bat, congratulations, JMB is in fact the president. Unity Party is in power. CDC is out of power. It was a peaceful transition, big positive, because we've been at this stuff now for so many years, and it's good to see peaceful transitions. Nobody's trying to overthrow the government that they're part of. When I woke up this morning, I'm up like around 4 or 5 in the morning. The first thing I checked was the weather in Liberia. The reason I do that is I'm not a big fan of the sun, right? I remember when I used to be working in New York City, I used to be avoiding sitting out in the sun for an extent. It's just me. That's just me. So the first thing I did, I checked the weather. I looked at it. It was going to be 89 degrees. And I said, okay, let me look at the hour by hour change to see what's happening. And let me check the humidity. So when I saw it, I'm thinking, wow, I remember the game on Wednesday at the African Cups of Nations game on Wednesday. The temperature was like around, on the field, I think it was like around 101. So they were taking water breaks. We all know the heat in Africa is different from the heat anywhere else.
And Larry, that just to add to your point, that's after 23 minutes of the first half, they took the water break.
Exactly. You did. You see, you watched the game too. Exactly. So then I said, okay, maybe JMB will kind of recognize that this shouldn't be an event where you're going to have a long speech. He will cut it short. 45 minutes at most. End the day, he's president. Let the people know it's hot out here. We need to change our strategy, because you got to be able to change your strategy sometimes in the middle of the game if it's not working. So I was impressed that number one, he wasn't using glasses. For his age, the puppy was doing well. I mean, those are all, superfluous things, but yeah, he wasn't using any glasses. But he started going into this thing about history lessons. And I was kind of expecting a little bit more meat right off the top, get right into it. But he went into a long, winded story that we all have heard many times before, which is great. He liked to tell his story about being a CWA, being elected and his time in office. But he got a little bit more tangled up into some of this kind of non-meaty stuff, But here's the deal. I know, Robert, you said you did hear some positives, but I think it was more of what the conversation we had last week, more of hope, as opposed to a true strategy on the ground, hitting the ground running. This is how I'm going to use technology to stop corruption in the country. Not just we're going to try to get rid of corruption, but how you're going to use technology to stop corruption. How you're going to jail people who have been found guilty, in the courts. So, those are some of the meaty things I was looking for. And I was really looking forward to this list of political appointees. But the people, again, Tomalin, Ben, Julius, Robert, you guys know this time and time again, it's always the people around the leader that causes the leader to fail. No one recognized that the heat was going to be a factor in this whole thing. For them not to catch it early on. Yeah, I mean, you guys see in places where if the weather is bad, maybe there's a snow or something. If you're here in North America, schools will be closed. If it's going to be extremely hot, they will cancel all outdoor activities for the kids. You see that stuff. People pay attention to that stuff. Why is it in places like Liberia we don't pay attention to some of those things? It was kind of curious. But he's president. That's the great news. It was a peaceful transition. And I look forward to, again, the names being put out there in terms of who he's going to be surrounded with. But, you know, I'm glad he's doing well. I pray that he has a long life and he is strong enough to come back and start the work.
Well, thank you. In the next 15 minutes, we'll go to the phone line so you have some Liberians to give their thoughts and about this day today. But guys, let me just go quickly to President Weah. He gave a farewell address last night, and many, for me, people were shocked though. People reached out to me and said they were shocked that President Weah announced that when he took office in 2018, he inherited a little over $94 million in our foreign reserve, and he's leaving $222.7 million in the foreign reserve. He also said the consolidated account, that's where all our revenues and we pay payroll come from, and taxes are paid. He made $7 million there. He's leaving $40 million there. I mean, what are your thoughts about? And besides that too, he also on the weekend dedicated the new VIP launch at Robertsfield. And there are several projects, several buildings, projects he undertook during his tenure. For the first time, we have a park, two state-of-the-art parks in our country, the PHP Park and the Invisible Park. And also, he some buildings, the LPRs have a new building. They also the ministry, we have how they call the place, the NSA, and a lot of other buildings that was dedicated prior to him leaving office. But we have thoughts about his speech last night, his farewell address. Chairman Ben?
Let me. Well, Ben, you want to go first?
Well, yes. Sorry, it's not easy right now. Let me say this. Okay.
Yeah, you can.
So a couple of things I want to clear the air on something. The issue of the transition. The questions Keff was asking. Okay, guys, I'm getting word that this list will soon be out. So let you be on the standby for it. But let me say this, Keff, the questions Keff are asking, which was a legitimate question. I understand that I think what's his name that was here on the show, Dr. Nyen, right? He made reference. Tomalin, that's his name, right? Dr. Nyen?
Yeah.
He made references to several reforms they were working on. You remember when he talked about the Transitional Act and all of these different things. And I was speaking with someone just now who was one time head of the Civil Service Agency, who said that when the WEA government came into being, when they passed that executive order mandating that it be turned over to all HRs, it was pretty much a chaotic situation, because majority of these HRs who are in these ministries are not kind of equipped or qualified to the extent to be able to run a whole freaking ministry, right? These HR in almost all of the cases are under the Deputy Minister for Administration, which, by the way, happens to be a political appointee. And so because of that, and because of that executive order, President Weah virtually fired his entire government. He virtually fired all of his political appointees when he said that they are all deemed resigned along with him, right? So from what I've been told is that, yes, it is the highest, the HR is the highest person that is in charge in the ministry. So technically, but the person was recommending to me that what Keff was saying is probably true, that President Buckeye needs to issue an executive order to state clearly that maybe ministers should hold on to help the transition process, because what you will have happening tomorrow, and I think Kev, you know me, I can tell you when I slight you, you know I do it publicly. I think your concern you were trying to raise and maybe confirm this with me, because I think that's what the conversation me and the person were having. The person was saying Kev's concern is that tomorrow morning nobody's going to show up to work, and what's going to happen to the government, right? Nobody. The people who've been running these ministries for the last 6 years, none of them going to show up to work tomorrow. You're going to have an HR go up to what are they going to do? Do they even have keys to the minister's office? Do they have access to the so I thought it was important that we state that on the record, because we did have that conversation, on the record also. So the recommendation here is that the president should issue an executive order tonight, right, before the end of the evening, when he's appointing his first 5, because that's what we are did. The problem with we are on what he said, everybody fire, and everybody must report to the HR, and if you won't spend more than $1,000, you must report to the minister of state. The argument I'm not privy to call his name, right? But the argument they're making is that along with the appointment, there should come an executive order to ask for all those who have not received their replacement to hold on until those replacements are named, and the government that way to have a smooth transition. Because in President Weah case, Kev, there were a couple of ministers, and Tommy, you remember, there were a couple of ministers that he instructed to hold on. He instructed education to hold on. Information to hold on. He instructed transport to hold on. There were several ministers. He said, you hold on. In those cases, he reappointed those people. In certain cases, he replaced them. So I thought it was important for us to make that clarity. This is the closing argument. We don't peddle in conspiracy theories, and we don't try to act like we know everything. So, Kev, you were on point by raising the concern that you raised.
Because especially because I know that, because from the IG, everybody gone.
No, but Kev, anybody
Justice Ministry, look, Justice Ministry, everybody gone.
Yeah. Because Keff is right.
That need to be.
Keff is right. Because President Weah fired them, pretty much.
At the same time, anybody who have law and order still do. Anybody violate the law, the police arrest.
Well, no, you can't say it. You can't. We do have law and order, but at the end of the day, like Keff's argument is right. That listen, the executive order, he practically said to all of them, "I'm gone. All of you follow me. You don't have because they don't have any mandate to go to work tomorrow. They're not.
Right.
Weka is the new president. Somebody show up there tomorrow. People look at it like, what the hell are you doing here? Right? Your boss said you are deemed resign when I'm gone.
For instance, D. Soga Wilson has left the Ministry of Youth and Sports.
Exactly.
Okay. The other ministers,
they're all gone.
All the deputies are deemed resign.
They have left. So to Ben's point, let me ask you a question. For those that have already left, before I answer Tomalin's question, if the executive order, because I don't think that the president will appoint all of these guys, even if we have a list tonight.
No, it's not possible.
You're going to have 5 appointees tonight.
Yes.
So 5 appointees is just a drop in the bucket, right? So if I'm a minister of health and I'm at home right now thinking I don't have to go to work tomorrow, when is it soon enough for that executive order to come through?
It has to come through tonight.
Yeah, but guys,
come through tonight.
It's almost 9 o'clock in Liberia, and so nobody working right now. So, but I just spoke to Charles Snyder. He said I do have the list up tonight.
Yeah, no, but Tomalin, true. But the president is not appointing
the whole
2,000 people tomorrow. The argument is possible. What happens, like what George is saying, right? Robert is saying, listen, which is true.
But they want different. I see that from what I'm hearing, they'll appoint a lot of cabinet ministers to.
No, but they're not. But again, even if he appoints 50% of the cabinet, there's still 50% that is not going to be appointed.
Right.
So that's why the recommendation is when you appoint these 50%, an executive order should also follow and say, pending your replacement, everybody else hold on, just to allow a seamless transition. Yeah. Because what you will have happening is you will have a director of HR who will go to work tomorrow. What is the director of HR going to go sit down in the meeting?
For example, ambassadors, right? The ambassador, the president issue when he came in office, he issued. That's why the Nigerian ambassador was there. The ambassador for in America right now, he's in Liberia. He gone back home.
So
He was
let
there.
me
He was there at the airport yesterday.
But you usually they don't trouble foreign service
No,
police.
usually they don't.
Foreign service normally don't get trouble. But I
They
want to
don't
highlight
trouble
somebody
them.
comment.
But Ben, they should be back too by that executive order.
Of course. But normally foreign service.
Yeah, they don't. Yes,
really
but
bother
they should be back.
Yeah. But let me highlight this guy comment, right? So you see, this is why I always say I like to educate people. You know, we're putting you on the stage, so you want right. First of all, government appointees, you can't say government appointees and civil servants work for the state and not the president.
Look at that.
My friend,
Appointments.
political appointees work at the pleasure of the president. Civil servants work at the pleasure for the state. The president can just fire. The president can fire civil servants because he's the head of government.
Yeah,
right?
but these are not civil servants.
Eh?
These are not civil servants.
That's what I'm saying. So I won't correct him. I will put his comment up. He wrote, he said, I ain't got no idea in how government work. I put him up, right? President appointees work at the president's pleasure. The president can wake up tomorrow morning, he appoints Robert. He can wake up tomorrow morning and decide, say, Robert, I let the way your beer look today. I will fire you. Robert can't do nothing to the president. He can do nothing to the president. So I thought it's important, you know, because we're on a public radio. That's how misinformation goes. And people don't have, and that's why I thought to come back to bring it up, because when me and Keff were having the conversation, I was stating that. So I thought it's important that we just make that clarity. So we wait to see what President Bokar do tonight when he come up with his list. To answer your question, Tomalin, on the President George Weah, correct?
Yeah.
Listen, I think President George Weah, like I said, he's done a lot. I mean, I was sitting there thinking the other day. You know, people not forget about the amount of market buildings that George Weah built. People have even forgotten about that, right? The Omega, the Douala, the Oro, all these market buildings, right? That he constructed, state-of-the-art market buildings. Then you have the what is it name? The Claire Marie Weah executive launch that he just did, that everybody was using today. I mean, just look how beautiful and how proud we were today as Liberians, seeing those foreign guests walk through, instead of walking through that little Palawa hut thing that we had for the longest, you know. So I think, again, like I said, I think he's done a lot. I think the CDC did a horrible job at communicating, you know, cataloging their successes. Because when you sit down and think, this was all done in 6 years. You know, this was all done in 6 years. Let's not forget, George Weah didn't have 2 terms. He only had 1 term. Out of that 6 years, 2 years was lost to COVID. 2 years were lost to COVID. The entire world was shut down, right? So I think I agree with you. You talk about the consolidated account. Yes, he did receive. He inherited $7 million. Obviously, that was not even enough to pay civil servant salaries. At least Joe Biden then got $40 million in the consolidated account to pay at least 1 month while they raise revenues for the next month. And he talked about even the foreign reserves. Very impressive also that they've been able to leave a lot of foreign. The only thing I'm a little concerned about is our debt. You know, I know from what I've been told is that our debt has increased a little bit, but hey, most countries, even this country, is suffering from a debt crisis. You know, debt is not a bad thing. It's just how you use it, and you make sure that you do it in the right way. So I think President Weah left on a high. I will say that. I think he left on a high. I think people will start to appreciate him. And Robert, let's talk. So this time flies very fast. The other day we were talking about George Weah getting inaugurated. Today he's former president of Liberia. So my message to the Unity Party people is that, you know, because Liberians got used to seeing infrastructure development under George Weah. They got used to it. What hurt Weah administration was the economic situation in the country. But people got tangibles they can touch when it comes to George Weah. They got PHP, they got Invincible, they got, the Bapolu Hospital. They got all of these things. Unity Party, this government has a responsibility to either match that or do more of that, not to even start talking about roads. You know, he did a lot with roads. So I think he deserves a lot of credit than he normally gets. I think.
And to answer the question, Tomalin, you talk about the PSP Park. I probably would have just advised them to maybe the idea is a long-term idea, but we need a museum in our country. The Unification Square, I think, is a great opportunity for a museum from a tourist perspective. But a lot of the people who said that the PSP Park, for instance, was not needed or wrong priority. I mean, I looked at a video from that park the other day. That place was completely overcrowded. I mean, people, it has become the new photo booth. People are going out there taking pictures by the water side. People, kids are they are using the little outdoor gym as swings. And people are just sitting out there just to catch cool air, and it looks nice. You talked about the executive presidential lounge. I gotta say, perhaps this is the only project where 99% of the funds were used for that project, because I got to say this is the first project. I mean, the design of it, the furniture. I mean, that project, I was so impressed when I saw that. I spoke to my brother. He was so excited, the aide to the president, and he was just so excited by just being close to that project. I thought that was amazing. But what also moved me, though, was the fact that the president seems to be very selfless here, right? This is a lounge. Of course, he's a former president. Of course, he's a celebrity. He will use that lounge, in and out of trips to our country. But he made sure that the lounge was ready for the incoming president and his guest. And like Ben said earlier today, I mean, it looked more beautiful than the previous executive lounge that was built by Charles Tiller.
Yeah, and Charles
Even
put
though
that thing
Ellen
together
Johnson,
right after the war,
yeah,
just to
yeah, even
accommodate.
though Ellen Johnson Sirleaf attempted to put a facelift to it, but what the airport really needed was this facelift. I mean, the construction is very beautiful. The design is beautiful. The equipment inside, I mean, look at the lights in there. The floor tie, everything just looked like what it should. It has office space. It has conference spaces in there as well. Everything just looked nice and beautiful,
Okay.
and I thought that that was a great thing. But the president, in his closing statement, confidently said, "I am leaving a stronger economy than the one I inherited." He confidently said that. You should listen to the video. He said, "I'm leaving
Yeah.
a better economy than what I inherited." He intentionally made mention of that. He
Okay.
intentionally. Are we playing it right now or later on? Can we?
Alvin,
Nyenwolo?
you want to play this?
They can do a better job with these things now. Why would
Yeah, let play the sound. Let what happen.
oh man, why were they telling the boy to put a camera up
Yeah,
there?
I mean,
I
you
mean,
don't. But let's take this down for right now, man. Let me. Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't own the cameras.
how you
What
tell
are
the
you?
boy to take
Look,
that camera up,
this
put
is
that camera up there?
ridiculous. If you are afraid, look, do you know how many other cameras were screaming that live that were not in physically in the building? If you didn't want this embarrassment to happen, then you should have properly planned. Simple as that. To avoid public embarrassment, you plan. And if you fail to plan, you've planned to fail. Simple as that. There's no cutting corners about this stuff. You know what I mean? Like I don't even want to talk, because every time I see that, it pisses me off. So I'm not even sure why I even play that again. Look at the guy using paper. You're using paper to fan the president. A $650 budget. You don't have fan out there. Forget the president. You got foreign dignitaries in the building. These white folks, they're not even used to Atlanta heat, and you're gonna put them in a Liberia heat in January. The whole thing was embarrassing. Like I said earlier today, look at the weddings that have happened recently. Mariah had a wedding. I saw the wedding.
Yeah.
The wedding seems to have
This should hire those people.
planned.
Yeah.
Look at the wedding of the young man recently. I mean, look at what these planners are doing in our country.
Yeah, Mariah, they should hire your wedding planner.
No, but you know,
Look at what this guy. But the same wedding planner, the design is the organizers are the same guys that are using all these folks. They are being very creative. You know, all these events are not necessarily a political event. You hire professionals, give them your vision. It's almost like me having a wedding. Just because I come from the industry and I have a vision of what I want, doesn't mean I should plan my own wedding. You have professionals for a reason. And so y'all don't play that embarrassment because we will change the whole topic. Let me get back to the president's speech. I thought George Weah was very confident. He said, look, I'm leaving $40 million. I inherited $7 million. I'm leaving over $250 million in the reserve. I inherited $92 million. Look, like Ben said, our debt might be a major concern. But look, I think he's leaving something that he didn't inherit. And the CDC may have had some hard marks. But I think that as the president boarded his flight today outside of the country, he looked excited. He looked like, you know what? I'm done with this. I've had enough of this. And I thank God that this embarrassment did not happen on my watch. I thank God that this was not CDC embarrassment. Because remember, when the president said, I'm here, I have come to reposition us on the international stage, I told one of his potentially senior government official that on the international stage today, Ben, we failed. When the world was watching us today,
embarrassment, total
we
embarrassment.
failed today. And we felt the country. This is not just about Unity Party. It's about the country because Joseph Boakai is now our president. He's not Unity Party Senator Barrow no more. He's the Liberian people president. And what we present to the world must be nothing but of the highest standard, especially when the world is watching. And so I thought this whole thing was poorly planned. And if I were Joseph Boakai, most of these guys that you, like you said, Ben, that manage this thing, I'll question whether or not they're competent enough
if
to
they
manage
can't
anything in the
another
future.
vision, how are they going to run the government?
To manage anything in the future. These were the same guys who put the old man in front of a camera for a press conference. And when journalists started asking questions, he turned around and asked the guy, what am I supposed to say again? Why are we here? Obviously, he was exhausted. Obviously, he was tired. This is a 79-year-old man. I would not sit in that heat. I'm a young man, and I would not be in a three-piece suit or in an African purple suit and sit in that heat for more than 30 minutes. I'm out of there. Imagine a 79-year-old man. So look, it was just a chaotic event today.
Yeah, welcome to Councilor Mariah Yakula Kopo and Grace Goa. Welcome the two young ladies.
Thank you.
Guys, one thing about the camera business, let me just say this. People don't understand. Issue a lot of camera because people can, for learning purpose. All people do it for. People can learn from it. They will say, let's watch what happened, and they can learn from it. But to say cut the camera on, I think was wrong, because people will do these things so that people can watch the film and see what went wrong, how it started and everything. So people got to get trained. You can't just say cut camera.
But Tomalin, camera, you pay for the camera?
Exactly.
How you going to call my camera? You paying for my bill? You paying my bill?
You're bringing ladies in. Let hear from them.
Let's hear from Mariah, because Mariah was there, right?
Oh, okay.
Mariah, you're in IE throughout the process?
She was there. So she
what
happened? And then Grace.
I hope you didn't walk from Capital to information for your car too.
No, we walked from Capital to the judiciary.
That's still far. That's still far, Mariah. You did well.
Not very far because it's just right next to. So the walking on within too much walking.
But you see, a lot of people fell off. And yeah, that's why they was talking. Another station was talking about. My former station said everybody fell off. So how you get, Mariah?
Everything people over, man. Yeah.
that's what they're saying. They say, oh, everybody fell off. So I don't know.
I heard it said the
I am
Papa
listening.
They said the
I'm
Papa
trying to be serious.
so.
And Mariah,
Um,
before you come in, Mariah, I heard that they are selling tables at the main inaugural ball. $3,000 for tables. Are you going to one of those balls? Are you paying $3,000?
bro, I get $3,000 to pay. But they all know they are selling tickets, $100 for single tickets. I know that. I would have gone, just very tired and exhausted. But I know they have $100 single tickets, and the tables are for corporate tables. So like corporations, businesses are paying. And I think it varies, $1,000
What
to
is the
three.
proceeds going to be for? What are you using the proceeds for?
Well, it's the Liberia Chamber of Commerce that's
Okay,
hosting
the
it.
Chamber of Commerce. Okay.
It's the Chamber of Commerce. Now, whether it's the official inaugural ball, I'm not aware. But I know it's the Chamber of Commerce hosting it, and I believe officials of government and
Yeah,
others
they're having
are
three.
going.
They're having three. One is at Royal, and another one is at Bella Casa Hotel.
Yeah, no, I'm not in the celebration, but I did attend the inauguration today
Okay,
along with
what
Mr.
happened? What
Kane.
happened today? What happened?
I think everybody knows what happened at this point. Why are making it seem like giving
No,
breaking
you were
news?
there, Mariah. You were there.
I wouldn't
So-
say
Yeah.
I was there, and I did watch what happened, and I mean I think the video captured that. It was a bit scary. Honestly, I criticize Ambassador Boykai, President Boykai, throughout the campaign, and always pointed out his ability to conduct the affairs of the office of the presidency. Um, and I'll be the first to say that we called that out during the campaign because it is a major issue. I believe the magnitude of the tax ahead and the work to be done. I didn't think he was able to carry out the functions of the office of the presidency at his age and all of the rumors and issues around his well-being. But seeing what happened today, especially with the heat, with the length of the statement, which was it was about 40 minutes in his speech, um, but also taking into consideration that it was an exciting time for him. I mean, it's the biggest day of his life. It is the biggest day of anyone's life becoming president. And so dealing with that, I guess, excitement, anxiety, and they've been working him a lot this weekend, meeting with, you know, diplomatic corps, people coming in, presidents coming in, and stuff like that. So I think it was all just very overwhelming. But it was a bit scary because even when they said all the cameras should be cut off, people should cut off the cameras, there are other moments that, happened, and it was almost as though we're all just standing on needles waiting to see whether they would take him off the stage, because at some point they even brought a chair for him to sit and continue reading his speech. And so he sat, and I mean, you couldn't see him, but you could hear him still trying to complete the speech. And after a while, it didn't seem likely that he would be able to complete the speech. And then they asked, at some point, they called the PC choir to come and sing. At another point, then they just reverted to the joint session of the legislature and had the speaker join, and they escorted him off the stage. You know, but I understand he's doing well now. He met with the Ghanaian president this evening. There are pictures and videos to that effect. Look, I think at this point, regardless of what we say, this is our president now. Um, Fortunately or unfortunately, how we feel about it, how we don't feel about it, this is what Liberians have decided they want for the next 6 years for our country, and we just have to pray for the president and pray for our country. But I think every reasonable, sound or well-meaning Liberian will not just dismiss what happened today. It didn't just happen in private. And even with the cameras, like telling people to turn the cameras off, I know there were international media because there were foreign media persons there. I know for sure because we sat not far from where the media booth was. So there were people with different accents, Nigerians, there were Americans, there were others. So I think there were other media outside of Liberian media, and they also captured those moments. But the world watched it, and I just got a link that Nigerian blog, Insta blog, already posted about it. We know the BBC, other media, international media have commented and done stories about it. The world was watching us, and of course, we had heads of states. Two heads of states were there, two vice heads of states, former heads of states.
Mhm.
So everybody's attention was on us today, and so we cannot sweep it under the rug. We cannot act as though it's not a big deal. It didn't happen. What we can do is to try to minimize the possibility of it happening again. We are a sovereign state. We're respected nation, as we should be. And honestly, it doesn't look good to have our leader, our president, in that position where, there's fear of him fainting. He's feeling faint. They have to bring cheer. They have to bring water. They have to be fanning him. It just not a good look for the country overall.
Thank you, Mariah. Let's get Grace. Let's get Grace to come in. Grace, it's good to see you. Welcome to the group.
Thank you, Ben. Thanks to everybody. It's nice meeting you guys on this platform. I'm very, very honored to be here. And concerning the inauguration today, for me, it was very embarrassing. I mean, the planning was very poor, knowing that we have a lot of professional Liberians that went to school and have certificate in planning programs and stuff like that. You would think that the incoming government or the UP partisan people would have tapped into those people to plan that program very well. They did not do that, and they never even had a plan B just in case of anything. So you could just see that the same thing that everybody complained about over and over again from the last previous government, and we just see it like it's a 2.0 at this point. So it was very sad to watch and see that. And also I heard that the media people were complaining because they said that a certain media group will be covering the program and the other medias will tap into them. And then they started being biased. They allow a Spoon Network to go into the premises and not allowing the other media people to be a part of that. So most of the media entities were complaining in Messenger, in some of their groups, and they were very upset. And we don't want to have a government like that, coming into power now and start to do things that favor one set of people and not favor the other people. And Liberians have been suffering these things all along, and that's why we want to change. And we see the same old thing started to happen, and that's why they said if the Christmas would be good, you would know from the eve. Like grandpa always say that. So this inauguration and everything that happened within it, I mean, it doesn't show good for this government. I felt that with everything that they have said and campaigned for, they should have aired this inauguration. To send a message that we're gonna be doing good. This is what we are, playing for. Liberia has been rescued at this point, but that was never the case, and it saddened me because, although for me, I would prefer not to have a president like Omen Boaka because I did not, tell my people to vote for him, or I did not campaign for him because I felt that he was kind of old and he's not really strong for the job at this point in time. Like we need a very strong, alert, and energetic president who has the knowledge and the wisdom to do the job. And for where we're coming from, with his health and also with his age, it's not going to be good moving forward. Liberians have to brace themselves for the next 6 years. And when you say it, people say, oh, they try to, our culture makes it to seem that we can't say these things, but it's the truth. We have to start to speak the truth. And concerning the speech, I see blames all around here on social media. People saying, "Oh, the people person who wrote the speech." We all know on this platform that when you go to give speeches, people write your speech and then you edit the speech for
You
yourself.
have the final say.
Yeah, you have to look over the speech and you have to make sure you condense the speech and take up sentences and add your own stuff into it and make sure it's going to be good for your timing. How can you last long giving such a speech for the person that you are? So for them to start blaming the speech writer and saying that the person who wrote the speech is to be blamed, and that's the reason why we did not want Joseph Parker, because we don't want to babysit people. This is not an old folks institution here. We
But
need somebody who will stand up.
people will get grace from to God a platform.
Yeah, we need somebody who will speak for the nation. And like, Africa is hot as a whole. Everywhere you go in Africa, Nigeria is even hotter. So you want to tell us that when he goes to the other countries and they have to sit outside, after some few minutes he will start fainting? And these are the things that we were looking at, and that's the reason why we wanted Liberia to change the direction, but they refuse to do it. So this is where we are.
Great.
And that's what I have to say at this point.
Great. Thank you for that. And listen.
Then I do want to. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah,
I do want to.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
go
I
ahead.
want to ask you a question, but I want to ask Larry first and then come to you, Mariah. Then the rest of the guys can jump in. Grace struck a
But I
point.
want to respond. Oh, go
And
ahead.
you want to? Okay.
I thought it was one of Kev's question here asked about everybody fainting.
Okay, yeah, go ahead quickly. 30 seconds.
Yeah, I didn't see everybody fainting. And from what I saw, to be honest, I saw one other person, which was a security person,
Okay.
because I saw the wire on his ear, and he didn't faint. He felt, of course, faint. He sat on the ground, and they brought water. In fact, they brought the hospital. The medical team came with the stretcher, the one that you hold, and they brought it to him. But I don't think they used it, and they gave him water and stuff. So I think he was okay. However, I've heard, not confirmed, and so I'm not going to call names, that one person also passed out and they took the person to the hospital, and unfortunately the person may have passed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is still a
But
developing story.
is that a true state? I heard that, but I didn't verify.
I One of the doctors, in that network confirmed it, but it will be good to hear officially from the family.
The family, yes.
But apparently, the person is a brother to one of my former workmates. So that's still a developing story. But
Wow.
so those are the two incidents or instances I know about people fainting. But it was hot.
Wow.
Trust me, and I have to say this because there were not seats assigned. So I don't know. I know they had seats assigned for cabinet and of course others on the platform, but off the platform, I saw assigned seat for cabinet, U.S. embassy, maybe diplomatic corps. I don't know if they had seats assigned for political parties, political leaders, but I know when we got there were no seats.
Wow.
And we got there about 8:50, 9 o'clock, about 9 o'clock, and there were no seats. They initially had us sit where the cabinet was, and then they said they found another seat, but it was out in the sun, and we were in the sun for over an hour plus, and I think that's why I kind of have a bit of a headache. But there's this guy who I really want to recognize publicly tonight, because what he did was something that I feel may have seemed simple, but it was symbolic. Emmanuel Lomax. I don't know if you guys know him,
Yeah.
but he left his seat and gave it up for Mr. Cummings because he was sitting under the shade. So he said, Mr. Cummings, you can come and sit in my seat. And he sat in the sun. I walked up to him and told him thank you. But it was symbolic because I know the last elections, the last inauguration under former President Weah, they had political leaders, Mr.
Yeah,
Cummings,
and they were on the stage,
Yeah.
right,
on the
Wow.
platform.
stage,
You're calling money
right,
for now.
because
Wow. Hey, money.
today's inauguration, because I know even Gonklo was looking for seats.
Mhm.
I know what's his name? Lucine Kamara was also, I think he had a seat, but he was also sitting off the platform. I didn't see any political leader for any of the parties sitting on the platform. So they were all seated, down in for Mr. Cummings and Councillor Bromsky and Charlene were sitting in the sun. It was really hot. So the heat was there. And this is January. Of course, we know it's dry, in middle of dry season. The heat was bad. But again, it it speaks to whether or not this was one of a kind, right? What was it like 20? I know 2017 it was at SKD, so there's cover for most of the places at the stadium. But 2012 it was also at the legislature.
I
It
was
was at
about
the
to say,
Capitol.
it was at that same
What,
location.
what was the weather in 2012?
It was
I mean,
hot.
I know it was the same January. I think it
It was
was
the same
January
January.
16th.
Yeah.
Because it was the third Monday in the month. So it's January 16th. What was the weather like? Because I feel like somebody mentioned about, the planning. This is not a new party coming to power. This is a former ruling party coming back to power. So you've done this before. You did it in 2005, you did it in 2012, you're doing it now. And I thought, of course, it would be better, but there were challenges, clearly,
Yeah.
obviously. But I think the issue of the heat, the issue of the sun, makes me want to think, what was it like 2012? Because it was the same location, the same time, the same venue, the same event, and we didn't have these issues, or maybe we did. I wasn't there. If someone can correct me if
I
I'm wrong,
was there.
but we didn't.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
It wasn't this. But I want to get, thank you for that, Mariah. I want to get Larry, Voight, and the rest of the guys can jump in, and Grace, you can also jump in. I want us to talk about, and we're almost wrapping up. We got, I think, a couple of more minutes. We still got some more time, but I want us to talk about the issue of, Larry, you specifically, you a system guy, right? You a guy who, I mean, all you do on this show is talk about processes and systems. And the other day you were on the show, you talk about the issue of hope is not a strategy, right? When do we get this thing right, Larry? Like when do we, and let's take into consideration protocol as a whole, just protocol, right? Mind you, next week the president is going to be addressing the legislature. He's going to do a joint, and I know that joint. Mariah, you've been in that joint chamber. When it gets hot. So I hope they have air conditioning in that joint chamber. Because it's going to be crowded. It is going to be crowded. Except they're gonna curtail, except they're gonna reduce the amount of invitations that people are gonna get, because it will be crowded. It will be his first State of the Nation address. People will want to hear him, want to see him live. Larry, what can you talk about this issue of system? What is wrong with us that we cannot get these things right? If we know we don't have the capacity within the government or within the, whatever the organization, outsource it. Like Robert said, people plan weddings, people do events. The other day they had a concert in Liberia. Under the hot sun, nobody died. There was, I'm just saying, nobody fainted. This is the height of our country, right? Every year, every event, people in get cheer. Protocol not in place. Some people standing up. What can you talk to us about the issue of systems and what needs to happen for us to kind of fix this thing?
We talked about it so many times on this show, and the last time even when we had this conversation, we said you have to put people in place based on meritocracy. You can't do it based on we're from the same tribe, we're from the same neighborhood, we play on the same football team. You can't do it on that. You have to do it because some of the people that who were trying to do this stuff, they have zero knowledge and experience in trying to manage a large event like this. If somebody is suffering from a heat stroke, in fact, some of the planning should involve having a medical doctor somewhere on that stage, or maybe somewhere very close by. We don't even have things like ambulances with all those people in that tight, confined space. We don't have the kind of ambulance to rush people out of there. And then what made it so bad, Ben, what made it so bad was you're in the hot sun, then you're trying to feed someone with paper in the hot sun. Y'all consider maybe taking the person completely off station, like a cool environment. And then what made it even, that was bad. What made it even worse, you try to bring the person back to even continue. You can't end this event. Is it that important that you cannot end it?
Yeah, already taking the oath. So
exactly. No, they should have just said, look, he's taking the oath. That was the most important part of it. Maybe the fact that he maybe, we've seen signs of like heat exhaustion, things like that. Maybe it's time to end it. But you don't stand there fanning him and making it look bad. Then you're telling people to turn off the cameras. We can't seem to get this right. We talked about it on the show. This was going to be a major test, not just of his stamina, but a major test to see how he was going to lay down the rules of engagement in his administration. But the annual message was going to be the next test that we're looking forward to. We can't seem to do this thing right. I mean, time and time again. This is why, if you look, you have over 1 billion people in poverty in Africa, right? Because somehow we can't seem to get it right with the mindset of putting people with very good practical experience in the right position. We put people that have no business doing certain things, like what Robert mentioned in terms of Mariah's wedding. The wedding planner seems to have done an excellent job, that it was memorable, that he remembers that stuff. Why can't you hire people who are good at planning these kind of large events? But even let's say you didn't hire the right people.
Reliably, let me give her a shout out. Was Vicky Isaac Nang with Vint Decor. So if you're looking for anybody to plan events, weddings, anything, Vint Decor is the plug.
Yeah, I remember. I didn't get an invitation, but I remember, Larry, because I saw on social media. Ben and I didn't get invited.
Yeah.
And but people who are experienced in doing
Lord.
Yeah, and the one thing I wanted to touch on, Ben, real quick before we kind of move on.
Well, like, and people then you were coming.
Yeah, real quick. What's this whole business about how much is left in the coffers?
Yeah, Larry,
yeah. In terms of what was left in the coffers, look, no matter how much money you leave in it, we could have left like 200 million in the coffers. This country is going to need, this administration is going to need almost $500 million to $1 billion per year for the next 6 years. Whatever money we have left is never going to be enough. They're going to need a lot more money. They're going to be depending on concessions agreement. We've seen concession agreement. It doesn't work. They're going to be relying on grants. If you take a look at the 2024 budget, almost, I think about maybe 300 to 400 million of that is grants and loans. That hasn't worked. They're going to rely. None of this stuff is going to work, but they're going to keep trying it. So to answer your question, somehow we don't learn from experiences. We keep trying the same old thing, and you all know the end result of that statement.
Yeah, thank you. Peabody, I mean, just something we talked about. Maybe the ladies will also talk about it, right? You brought it up. I mean, something as simple as the mic, the microphone. We didn't even hear the president give his oath. We didn't even hear him. We only heard the Chief Justice reading it because she had a mic. There was not a mic in place. We knew that this man, the primary reason why we were all there was for that moment. The moment where he was supposed to recite the oath. And there was only one microphone. And then in the process, when he's reading the Peabody, then I see them running on the stage. Oh, you need to get one mic. You need to get one mic. So they took the mic from the speaker desk to hold in front of the president's mouth. Peabody, again, like I asked Larry, when do we get this thing right? And guess what? We the loudest people. We the loudest people on this face of this earth. We don't want to know everything. We go on social media. We know how to cost people man. We know how to cost people power. We know how to do everything but the right thing.
Ben,
what is wrong with us?
I call them.
Ben,
I call them public big muff.
Let's get Isaac Jackson on quick.
No, but let Peabody.
We finish. I just informing you.
Yeah, but
have Isaac here after Peabody can come there.
Yeah, but let me say this. No, I got a category of group of people that I know, and I call them public big mouth. They go places and was drinking beer. They say it's one of the biggest thing that the next day when you call them, they were like, "Oh no, I can't do that stuff like that." But let me say this: we go to Ghana with both of our country as America, petty American. But you go to Ghana, other countries, you see how organized programs and things are. I don't know how long or what it would take to get people up on that. I think it's training. Hire somebody who will go into that country that will train people, and if you don't pass it, you're not satisfied to be a killer or something like that. But a common thing like a mic, you having a program, you got word people from all over the world, and you can't even a whole country can't even purchase. I mean, quality mic, PA system, public address system. That I mean, the whole inauguration was a mess. Even the oath with the Supreme Court. I mean, it was a mess. She went out there and apparently she forgot to even ask the president to kiss the Bible, and then I had to call him back and try to do it. I mean, y'all didn't rehearse it. Y'all did not plan. I mean, it was a complete mess to this. I think Ben, if as a Liberian, I was ashamed, seeing the president of Ghana and other countries sitting there, and we couldn't even. I mean, we can't organize. It happened during the George Bush inauguration. There were president who came did not even have seat to sit at that time. People were standing all over the place. We can learn from that. So what did you do with $600,000 to be spent in about a day or two? 600,000. What did you do with it? I mean, everything was. Look, the only person that actually took his post today and did what he needed to do, calling the legislature into section, and was the speaker. He did it and took his time and called it, but the rest was a complete mess. The vice president come out taking the oath, we can't hear nothing. Then somebody said, "Oh, it was the internet that had it." People, I said, "That's a lie." I saw the people changing mic. They tell me it's internet and stuff like that. But look, that was a mess today. And then even with the president too, falling off from that heat stroke and stuff like that, it was just bad. But one thing I want to say before I end, do we need all those people to the inauguration? Everybody I know in Maria went to the inauguration today. How? I mean, can it fit there? Do we need everybody there? Why not have a moderate inauguration with your internet, your guests, and a few people go there and do it? Do we need everybody? Everybody
But
I knew in Maria was there.
Dr. Peabody, though, inaugurations are, I think
Yeah, it's a
inaugurations are
big
meant
deal.
to be big
Yeah,
events.
it is a big deal.
I mean, look at the American inauguration. When I went to Obama inauguration
2 million
in
people.
2008, the Washington Mall, right?
2 million people.
So I think because people participate in the voting process, and I think it's important to have them included in the inauguration or celebration. It's really just down to how the house, right? But I think whether we should have, big inaugurations, I think we should. It should be a national event.
But if you want to have
Now,
it big, you
yes,
carry it to the stadium. Take it to the stadium.
right, but that too. But yes, well, that you may have to get approval from the legislature because it's a legislative event. So it has to be done at the legislature. And part of why it's not done inside is because again of the crowd, right? But it's a legislative event. So I know I understand 2017 CDC had to get approval from the legislature to have it at SKD. But that's an okay venue as well. Now, the reason inaugurations are usually big events is because in a democracy, it's the majority who gets to determine the next president,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so more often than not, the majority it's a big percentage, 55, 60, 65, 70, or like Charles did at 75% of the votes. And so that means the country overwhelmingly majority supported this person. With this inauguration, we see that it was really about what 17 to 20,000 people more that supported the Unity Party. So even at the Capitol today, unlike the stadium 2017, I wasn't there. I watched. It wasn't an overwhelming like the euphoria wasn't. I don't know how to explain it because you have to be there to feel it, right? But it wasn't that overwhelming because there are divided sides. There were people there who didn't support. There were, of course, most of the officials of government were from the CDC. So it wasn't that. Um, because then again, you also have to recognize that it's really only 17,000 or so people who voted more in terms of the majority, and it's about 1% margin over the CDC numbers. So with that limited mandate, it was also good to have more people come so that you're able to say, okay, the country is coming around the decision that was made, even though it wasn't an overwhelming majority. But let's have more people come out and just have this more of a national event, a unifying event, and just have people coming. So I think it should be big events.
Well, fair
Can I,
point.
can I
Fair
say
point.
something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something to Dr. Peabody. The inauguration had no class. Now, don't get me wrong. The people went there were classy. They were dressed very well, beautiful outfits and everything. The actual planning had no class, and that's one of the things that bother me. And also that it's not so much a training because at this point you can't train people in that their different capacity. You're supposed to have people who already know what they're doing to be there to do what they're doing, and that's the problem with our people. They always put people that they know. Oh, I know this
Yeah.
person and my
I
cousin
agree.
friend. But whether
Yeah.
the person can do the job is a whole different thing until we learn to start putting people in areas where they have the expertise and they went to school for, we have a problem. Also, Mariah said that with the political leaders, the pettiness of UP party. How in the world will you take these political leaders that ran in the campaign with you and put them in the sun where you can just build a shade for other than even if you're not putting them on stage, for them to be covered, under some kind of shade, and you just let them in the sun. And I saw some of the pictures; they were looking so sorrowful, and I saw some of the people sitting there, like they were nothing. People don't do political leaders that are in nowhere in the world. So how you treat these people, and that's the pettiness of this new government that coming in, and that would be some of the problems that we have. So I just wanted to say that. I also noticed that Joseph Boakai never had any handkerchief in his hand. He was sweating. He started to take his hand and rub his face. He never even had handkerchief to wipe his face. That was some of the poor planning we talk about. The clothes were too heavy for him at this point in time, especially knowing his son in Liberia. So they could have just put him in another outfit that were going to cool him up a little bit, knowing that he's an older man. I just wanted to say
Kev,
that.
you want to comment? Kev, I know you say you
Strong
have.
point. Strong point.
Kev, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you.
Yeah,
Yes,
go ahead.
hello.
Go ahead, Isaac.
Let me say good afternoon, absolutely, good evening, absolutely to my fellow colleagues and panelists. I want to thank you guys and wish you post Merry Christmas and I don't know what we still say Happy New Year since we're still in the first month of the new year. But look, I mean, to say that the inaugural program day was a disaster, I think it's an honest statement. This was a big embarrassment for Liberia. And truth be told, we need to be earnest with ourselves. We have to squarely put the blame at the doorsteps of those who inflicted this nightmare upon Liberia. We predicted that Bwaka was a disaster waiting to happen. I mean, all of you have talked eloquently about how previous inaugural programs were at least better than this one. I don't want to. I know that's an obvious truth, but where I want to put my energy when I said Bwaka was a disaster waiting to happen, previous inauguration that were held before under those same circumstances, nobody fainted. Today, Bwaka almost fainted. He was asked politely to take his seat and to recover. There are those who will blame everybody, but they will not blame themselves. You all know Bwaka's fundamental problem is his old age and his declining health. Johnson Sally stood in our same song and delivered long speech. We are not springs to the sun, even though people who are surrounding Baka did not prepare him. They needed to be self-aware. He's advanced in age and he has health challenge. So you can't keep him there reading long speech and you think something will not happen. You know, we have to be self-aware. We have to be aware. Baka demonstrated today that he doesn't have the stamina to stay in the heat and read long speech. Will he have the stamina to effectively run Liberia? Liberia is a tropical country, correct? So instead of blaming everybody, the speech writer, they didn't organize it, they play were hard. The fundamental learning key. Waka is advanced in age and he is not in brilliant health. Mr. Kwame sat in the sun. No shame, he not collapse. He collapse because he's in excellent health. That's why we go back to our constitution when the constitution demands and requires of us to have a healthy president. With all the vitriolic attacks against Brother Costa, myself, and few of the truth talkers in the country, today, Bwaka's proved right. How you criticize the man so? How you criticize the man so? Bwaka himself said he was not in brilliant health. His vice presidential candidate said Bwaka was not in brilliant health. His de facto campaign manager, Prince Jerube Johnson, that notorious murderer, also on tape said Bwaka was not in great health. The man is not in great health. You put him under the sun, he reading long speech, and you think he will not collapse? So, brother, instead of blaming everybody, let Bwaka put the mirror to himself. He was not honest with the Liberian people when he was talking about his health. He deceived the country into believing that he was in excellent health. Today, it caught up with him. I think that conversation, our conversation, should revolve around the real foundational issue that we're glossing over. Because even if you put him in the house and somehow he helped not able, he will still collapse. The man collapsed and he was rushed to ERWA hospital. He came to America, he was undergoing treatment. They lie about it. People are marketing deliberate deceit to our Liberian people. We who have the platform to inform, we must be courageous in telling the people what the problem is. The old man is not in excellent health. Even in America, with all of this sophistication, Biden the other time was trying to claim the plea and he has issues. These are things that are associated with people in that age group. And Bwaka should have known. And the people who organize the program should have known. And we Liberian people need to tell our people that the leader we chose, the leader is not in brilliant health, and the leader is in advanced age, and these are the things that you will see happen. This is the sign of things to come. This is the sign of things to come. You go to Cameroon, example there. You go to Cameroon, example there. The former president of Nigeria, example there. He was rushed to. I was in London. He was in London. All right. So we just have to tell people, the people who inflicted Bwaka on us, they did a gross disservice to the country, and this is a sign of things to come, and we cannot wishy-washy. President, we are organized inaugural program. It was by far better than what we saw today. All right, President, we are inaugural program. At least political leaders have sit in the front row. They sat there. Ellen Johnson selling organized inaugural program. Political leaders were accorded their rightful places. They have sit in the front row. So what are we talking about? At this stage, we have support or we're expected to build on previous experience and improve upon it. If we fail to build on previous experience to improve upon the previous experience, what are we talking about? It's a disaster. It's a disaster that must be condemned and decried. And the reason for the disaster is that few Liberian people thought they could deceive the country continuously by lying about Bwaka's health. And Bwaka proved to the whole world that he is not in brilliant health and he doesn't have the stamina to endure. That's what it is. There can be no two way about it. So I want to thank you guys. I'm still.
Yeah, can we get Isaac to come? If he's gonna be available on Wednesday, we can probably do a show on Wednesday. Look, Isaac, please, if we'll talk offline. But I want us to go. We have a few more minutes left, and I want us to talk about what he brought up. And I think look, this man is our president for the next 6 years, and there is a pending debate even in this country, this very United States of America, about the health of both the advanced age of both Joe Biden and Donald Trump. In fact, Nikki Haley. In fact, that's the principal thing Nikki Haley is running on right now. That she want no 80-year-old man in the White House. Is it fair? Is it fair? Is it fair game? Because clearly, we have to look at this thing and say, if Walker wasn't 80-year-old with a pre-existing condition, he does have a pacemaker, would he have collapsed today? That's a legitimate question to ask. Would he have collapsed today? Would he have had the episode not collapse, because he didn't collapse, but would he have had the episode that he had today? And is it hard time that we start to have these conversations in general elections, where we start to demand from presidential candidates their health records, to start to see because if you want to be president, we want to know if you're fit for this job. We can go around the horn and kind of close on this. But I think Isaac has raised a point. So Robert, you start, and then we'll go to and then end with the guys.
Yeah, thank you. Look, I think that one, I don't know if we can legislate or go back to see what the Constitution says about qualification and health of the president. But obviously, common sense would imply that in the interest and the spirit of transparency, that those who seek to lead us are forthcoming about their health. We made multiple examples of how transparent former presidents or candidates were. John McCain, he had cancer, and at the stage that it was in, and he had some health issues, given his background. And he was honest with the Liberian people. It came up multiple times on the campaign trail, and he was honest with the Liberian people, with the American people, with the American people, and instructed his folks to release copies of his medical records to show that though he has some medical concerns, he was in the right mental state if given the opportunity to lead our country. Now, we saw what happened. He probably would have been okay the first term, but had he been reelected, if given the opportunity, history shows that he would not have made it because he unfortunately passed from cancer. And so I think it's an important point. But look, we as a people, as intelligent people, we've got to do our own due diligence. When someone applies for a job, you want to make sure that you've done your due diligence and you've checked all of those boxes. You want to make sure that you do that. Now, if we are not doing that, the people who elect these leaders, if we are not doing that, then we get what we have to lay in the bed that we have to lay it in. Simple as that. But I want to go back a little bit before the other guys come in, Ben.
30 seconds. We got to.
Yeah, no, 3 seconds. So this whole thing about Alice Cummings and others not being accorded the respect. Look, this is embarrassing. So you mean to tell me that you give a major, like the mayor now, Alice Cummings is part of the top 3 major political parties in our country. He's a political leader in Liberia. Even Ben Sanvee should be accorded as former chairman. As common, no, I don't even go there. As former chairman of the Liberty Party, a major political party, according the respect that he has earned. So you mean to tell me they take a whole political party? The man got 3 collaborations. You take a whole political party like that and you just put a man in a son? I mean, are you kidding me? You mean to tell me they couldn't put him on the platform, Ben? And by the way, in our close on this note, Ellen Joseph Soliwa even said in the Sun. You asked the question about age. Adu is 79 years old. He was sitting in the sun too. He didn't faint. So look, there are a lot of questions about this health issue. But at the end of the day, I think that Joseph Boaga, now that he's president, must be transparent with us, and the public has to know where we are with his health and how fit he is to lead.
All right, thank you. Let's go to trying to see. Let's go, Mariah. 1 minute, I beg you. Let's wrap up on this health issue. We got to run. We'll go to Grace, and then we'll come down to the guys. They will close out. Can you hear us, Mariah? You muted.
I mean, Ben, to be honest, yeah, I think I'm unmuted.
Yes, go ahead.
Is it better now?
Mm-hmm.
Right. To be honest, I don't like to sound redundant, and I don't feel the need to repeat myself. I think a lot of people probably surprised at my positioning tonight because we said this throughout the campaign. We repeatedly cautioned Liberians and warned our people about, this. And this is what we have now. So for me, I don't feel the need to keep repeating something that at this point we have to decide how we're going to approach it for the next 6 years, and really just figure out a way to live with it, because that's who we have for our president right now. Point blank period is not going to change. The legislature had a joint session. He was sworn into office. Joseph Boaga is our president, right? But I think this should be a learning curve for Liberians and Liberian voters. We cannot continue to vote on who's more popular, which popular person can remove another popular person, who is in the best position to remove one president, rather than who's in the best position to develop our country, rather than who's in the best position to lead effectively, rather than who's in the best position to take on the struggles, the challenges of this country. But we're voting based on who more popular than the other president or the other president. These elections was really just about removing Josh Weah. And Liberians got what they wanted, and they removed Josh Weah. He's currently apparently in Paris, probably living his best life. What we as a country and as a people now have to deal with is the president that we currently have, President Boaga, and see how are we going to work around these challenges and hope, because I honestly don't have expectations. That's why people say manage your expectation. I'm like, you gotta have some to be able to manage it. I don't have expectations, so I don't need to manage any, but I can hope that they can do better. I can hope that these issues don't continue to embarrass the country on an international level. And I can only pray, that God keeps him safe and healthy and okay. But as to our decision-making process as a country and as a people, this should be, on the first day of the job, this should be a learning curve for us as a people in terms of how we choose and select our leaders.
Thank you. Grace, come in, and then the guys will do
it. So I know some people here tonight on this platform, they don't like what I'm saying. Not on the platform, but in the comment section. And one of you big person just wrote me, but there's some information in here, so I will read it. They said,
"Come on, you man, you're not going to."
No, let her read it.
They said that you are living in the USA and do not know of heat stroke. For your information, one guy from the USA died today, and he was just sitting in his seat. One senator is still in a hospital, and a deputy minister is also hospitalized. 5 others had heat stroke today. Boaga had a bulletproof vest and a heavy country cloth plus hat, so that plus a hat. So what do you think happened to him? What did you expect? Didn't George Weah fall out in Buchanan last year? It is so sad that people who are supposed to know better say things that make no sense. So he's insulting me.
Wow.
Yeah. So and that's the UP people for you.
So Grace, before you answer, so are you saying? So is he saying that they sent? So what he's confirming is that they practically sent the president in house state.
Yeah.
Because all I think he explained just now, he anticipated that those things were going to lead to him having a stroke or to lead to him having to faint. So they literally dressed the president and put the president in a position where he went into hands. But go ahead. It's just fascinating how people think. But
Yeah.
But Grace, let me just interrupt. Sorry. What's also important is the fact that he could have provided all of that information as information to her and not ended with insulting her.
Yeah,
It's this intolerance that we talk about, and that's why I keep saying the 5 and 6. Nothing's going to change. It's the intolerance. If you believe that she's saying something based on information she doesn't have, and you providing that information is one thing, but to end with insulting her, that analysis, yes.
Go ahead, Grace.
Exactly. And this is so sad. And I know I'm a strange Liberian woman, because most time Liberians are not used to women just speaking the truth and the facts. And so I don't really care about what he's saying here, because I know who I am, and you can take that away from me. I know that with all of what said, whether he had on the bulletproof vest and everything he had on him, that's when planning come into play. If it was planned well, he wouldn't have gone through what he went through, because this is a big event and it's worldwide. And that's what we are saying. You cannot take that away from us. And as far as his health issues, Liberians already knew, and we said it over and over again, that Liberia, from whence we come to where we are going, Joseph Boakai is too old in age, and he is not very energetic in his age. Because if they're saying that Nana Odu or the president of Ghana is the same age as him, did you see Nana Odu? Did you see him get up and walk? So everybody will age differently. I don't know whether it's his resettlement age or whether it's his true age, but everybody will age differently if this is his true age. And at this point in time, Liberian did not need an older guy that not really physically fit to lead Liberia. We needed somebody alert, energetic, and we needed a 360 change. We needed new faces, we needed new knowledge, and we needed new expertise. We needed all of that. And Liberian people miss it again. It's always like a trying error with this country. And I keep on saying, you brace yourself, because it's not going to be easy for the next 6 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Keff Hassan, please, and then we'll go to Peabody. Keff, are you listening? You're muted. We can't hear you.
Well, let me say this. I think there's the list is out. Boma Kamara is the finance minister. Sylvester Graceful, Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. Kofi Wood, National Security Advisor. Gregory Coleman, Police Director. Sam Gay, Director of
EPS.
EPS. These are the lists out as we speak.
Is that Gregory Coleman?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So these are the 5 out as we speak right now.
Wow.
Really? He didn't name foreign affairs?
The foreign
Not
minister?
yet. Not yet. Not yet.
Wow.
So guys, that's it. That's it out there. That's the
Welcome back to the recycling bank. Recycling.
Well, Kev, please read it again. Please read it again, just for the news, for just read it again.
Yes, Kev is right. I just got it from the executive mansion.
But read it now. Read it. Y'all read it.
Yeah, Boma Kamara, Minister of Finance. Sylvester Graceful, Minister of State.
I'm shocked that he didn't use a Minister of Foreign
Exactly. Yeah.
Kofi Wood, National Security Advisor. Gregory Coleman, Inspector General. Sam Gay, EPS.
The President of the Republic of Liberia, Honorable Joseph.
Was that the foreign minister?
So recycle, guys. No new face. No new face.
We'll come back to
guys.
Nothing.
Can you?
My question to you, Tomalin.
Yeah.
Why the new faces you were talking about? New thing, new day.
But I just find
That's a 5.
That's a big 5.
I mean, to be fair, it's a symbolic. I mean, it's big 5, but also to be fair, it's the first appointment, so it's symbolic. So
I'm very shocked. The first thing I would say,
the same.
The first thing I would say is that I'm very shocked that
19 years.
I'm very
After
shocked
what,
that there's no
19 years?
Minister of Foreign
Lofa,
Affairs on that
Lofa,
list.
Lofa,
The
people of
same
us.
finance minister had Burma Kamara, same guy.
After 19 years?
But why I can see it on the website?
12 years,
I just said
12
Lofa.
years,
I
12
think
years
it's
of
on the
George
national
Weah.
website.
I mean, 12 years, Ellen, you had the same people.
You're
Then
not
after 12
privileged.
years,
You're
you
not
come back.
privileged to that
I need,
information, Ben.
I know,
Special security
right?
clearance. You need
Dr.
special
Peabody, I
security
need
clearance.
clarity here. Is that did they name the foreign minister?
No.
Not
No,
yet.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But
I just
I
said
mean,
Lofa, put it out
these
there.
are people who've been working in government in the past. They were there 12 years ago, and they're coming right back. I don't
But
see
look,
what
I'm
the
happy.
rescue is coming from.
I'm happy
Okay,
about
yeah,
the
let's go
Inspector
now.
General.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
happy
go
about the Inspector General.
to the next
I
person.
think
Kev,
he still has a lot to
yeah.
offer.
Kev, do your thing now. So
No, Kev is done.
Let me
no,
say
Kev,
this,
but then
guys.
Kev in
Let
though.
me say
Kev was
this.
reading the list.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kev.
I
But now
told you
you
I was
have-
going to be a recycling bin.
But let me say this. Let me say this, guys. You know, by coming up with all this blaming thing, oh, it's a speech writer, all these other things. Like I said from the beginning, Isaac Jackson just said the same thing. I think we're giving and hope to them to keep coming again and giving story. It's not the first time that he dropped. He fell off so many times. I have reported that on when I was on another network. The paper drop, they say, oh, that lie. The paper drop. Now you see where your own are. Don't they say, oh, that it hits? So now what's going to be happening now? Any African country he go, he speak long, he will drop. So that dropping president, you'll get now. So he dropped. They will say, oh, the Addis Ababa is too hard. The paper dropping Addis is too hard. Oh, he dropping Aricos is too hard. No, we cannot be doing this. It's an underlying factor with the or underlying condition that happening with JMB should be taken seriously, or or give the country to Jeremiah Kuhn to run the country. I think Joe Bucker is unfit. He's unfit to run this country. Liberians should take it very seriously. I think this country should be given to Jeremiah Kuhn to run this country because Joe Bucker is unfit. I think the lawmakers should start thinking right now what to do right now. He cannot run this country. And I'm telling you again, and I will say again, this will not be the last. You'll see it again. It will not be the last. I've said this thing over and over again. Everybody say, Kev, you hate Joe Bucker, you this, they swear me, they say all kind of things, but we will see it again. Or otherwise, he will stay home and Joe Bucker and Kuhn. But I think I think Liberia need to start getting ready for the Kuhn presidency. And I will say this: get ready. This country going to be run by Jeremiah Kuhn. I end it from here for now.
Thank you, Keff Hassan.
Ben, may I say something about this list? First, I got to agree, it's all old names, but except for Kofi Woods, I mean, I don't know.
No, but Kofi Woods
what's required. No. Let me end my statement now. Except for Kofi Woods, because I don't know what's required or if there are qualifications for being national security advisor. I think all of those named actually have some experience in their fields that they're named to. Clearly, they're older and they have qualifications and experience. So whether it's Bama Kamara, former finance minister, the police director going back, who else again? Minister state. What's interesting is all of these people held the same positions under Madam Shirley. So Honorable Grisby was her chief of staff as well. Gregory Como was a police director. Bama Kamara was her finance minister. And who's the other person? Sam Gay. I think he was at EPS.
EPS.
Right. So he's returned. Right. So what is different is, like any organization, it starts from the head. Madam Sirleaf leadership and her ability to run the country, having these people work with her, yielded a different result. It's not automatic that bringing them back to this position will yield the same results with President Boyka as president, because the leader sets the pace. So it will be interesting to watch and compare their performance or how it was with them working under Madam Sirleaf as compared to them working under Ambassador Boyka, because it's a new head, it's a new leadership, it's a new president. And so for me, that's what I'm going to be looking out for in the next couple of months and years. But I think, to be fair, they all have worked in those capacities before and have experience in it. And it would just be interesting to see how they now work under him as president. So congratulations to those names. But before I end, I also want to say, though, I think they took George Warner's advice, because he did a post tonight telling them to put out some appointments so that the conversation can change from the fainting to the appointments. And I think they did that by putting out the first 5 to really just change the conversation and have people talking about the appointments. And it's a safe bet, because these people were already there before, so that you put it back. Since I'm already thinking about it, boom, put it out. That changed the topic. So yeah, that changed the topic.
But I think, I mean, the first appointments, to be honest with you, I think I'm satisfied with it. I think the president, the appointments, I think they are in place. And that there are people who I respect, and I believe they would serve him and the country well. So the first appointment, I give the president a for these first appointments.
Well, let me say this. Dr. Peabody.
Where's the change?
I'm begging my brother, Dr. Peabody, but this is not the Burma Kamara that left the country in 7 million and under 100 million on the cover. It's not the same Burma Kamara.
He was there for 16 months.
Yeah, but that's the same Burma Kamara was there when we took over with a broke country. That's the same Burma Kamara.
He was there for 16 months.
Well, you know, let me say
so what I mean, again, to be fair to Keff,
I expected to see somebody new, to be honest. Sylvester Grace has been around for a little bit long time. To be honest here, I expected to see somebody new.
There you go, Peabody.
Kofi been around for a while. I expected to see somebody, whether they qualify or not. I think they only qualify Liberian that can hold this era.
No, but the two jobs, the two jobs you talk about, that somebody that you trust, that you close to. Like for instance,
so then you're not going to nobody.
I'll give you, Peabody.
But I'll tell you that. But look, it's no doubt that Obama Kamara, the excellent human being, qualified all that. But my point here is, can't we find anybody else for the same people every time? Every new go, I mean, you bring the same people back. They work on they come to I mean, what's the result when they were there? Did anything change? What's the result that
the studio are calling also? The studio are calling. I think we'll have to go now.
I think yeah. Let me end your part. I think all in all, the president needs to go and seek further medical help so that he can come back and rule the world. I think. Yeah, what happened today? If they don't take action and think that they can just brush it off and say he wore vest. They say he didn't wear no bulletproof vest. Somebody just said it. So I think they need.
So somebody going to kill Boga today?
But I think he needs to sneak medical.
Can the studio go and we still just conclude online, or they control the online too?
Yeah, they control it. They control it.
Mute, Henry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they control it from there.
Yeah, so I guess we'll have the appointment tomorrow. I guess.
Yeah.
But we're coming in tomorrow.
Well, we probably should have a show tomorrow then.
Yeah.
We'll speak with the studio.
Yeah, that's it.
Ben, I still gotta give my closing statement though. Even though I had to leave, but I still gotta close on this note.
Can you take us home?
Okay.
Understand? Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
He's already thought because I don't want to get in trouble with Grace. Grace will let she a firebrand too.
No, but in closing, let me Henry, you can drop off. I guess I will take it from here. You can drop off.
No,
Okay.
no, they got to close. Henry, they got to
Lofa,
close.
go ahead, close.
Just go ahead quick. Henry got to
Okay, and I mean, and in short, I think we have already started to see what we intend to get in the near future. All right, the disrespect today that I saw, it's hard that I even want to talk. I'll be on Across Africa tonight. I can't. What I want to say, I don't think I got enough time to say. I'll be on Across Africa tonight. I will address.
I will join you on Across Africa.
Yeah, come on Across Africa. We'll address that. By the way, happy birthday to my sister in Madison, Wisconsin, Janet.
I will join you too because I still.
Okay, yeah, come on. Right after, I'll send you the link. Janet Soko in Madison, Wisconsin. Happy birthday. I'll send it to you today.
Across Africa will be hot tonight.
It'll be hot tonight.
I'll be on. Send it to me.
All right.
Come here, who grew up?
So everybody who's online, join us
We'll
on
send it to
Across
everybody.
Across Africa
Join
tonight.
us tonight across Africa.
To continue
Join
the
us.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Henry, take it from here.
All right.
Thank you for accommodating us.
Oh, Grace, happy birthday. The birthday is someone. Grace, happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank
Grace,
you.
happy birthday. Happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
Happy birthday, Grace.
Come back,
Thank
Grace.
you, guys.
Tomorrow.
Grace, please join us again.
Yeah, I will. I want to come on Uncle Africa. I want to come on.
Janet, happy birthday to you, Mama.